And that was available. This is right here.
I'd like to call the Caddo Parish Commission work session, March 19th, 2018, 3:30 work session to order. Ms. Nations, if we can have the roll call.
Dominic Johnson.
Present.
Jackson, Lynn,
Present. Present.
Present.
Here,
ma'am.
Here.
We'll get Commissioner Stormy Gage Watch if you'll say the invocation. And Commissioner Atkins, can you lead us in the pledge and we'll all rise.
Yes, sir.
All hearts and minds are clear. Let us pray. Oh, Heavenly Father, we come before you thanking you, Father, for this day that you have created, Lord. God, we thank you, Father God, for bringing us up to this very moment, in this very moment in time, oh Lord. God, we ask you, Father God, to just continue to bless us, God, and continue to give us the wisdom, Father God, the guidance and the direction, Father God, that you will have this parish to go in, oh Lord. Yes. Lord, we thank you, Father God, for being a just God to do what we have asked of you, Lord. Lord, we remember all of those, Father God, who may have a bereaved or heavy heart on this afternoon, Lord. We ask, Father God, that you would touch their hearts, God, in the way that only you can. Yes. Lord, we love you and we bless your name. And it is in Jesus' name that we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. If you're comfortable, please place your right hand over your heart. Active duty and reserves may render a brow salute. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Again, I'd like to welcome everybody to our work session agenda. It's a beautiful day. Thank goodness we're getting back into some sunshine. Hope that continues, and we'll move along with our agenda items. Ms. Nations, if you can read the next item, please. I see no agenda additions. We will move to citizens. There's two agenda. Go ahead. Oh, Commissioner Chavez, you have two agenda additions.
Yeah.
Let's make them one by one.
One by one. Okay. Well, it's just like to expand the agenda. On Thursday, we're going to have we'll do we'll have two visitors. So each one's going to speak for 3 minutes. One's going to be Miss Louisiana USA. And one's going to be Kamisha West with 211.
Northwest.
Yeah.
United Way.
Northwest Louisiana. So we can take those up individually if you want.
Are they going to speak under Citizens College? You actually want to put them on the agenda, is that correct?
We'll put them on the agenda.
You do?
Yes.
Okay. So I have a motion and seconded by, motion by Commissioner Chavez, seconded by Commissioner Lynn Cawthorn, to expand the agenda to allow Miss Louisiana USA and also Miss Keisha West with Kamisha West with who?
With United Way of Northwest Louisiana.
Okay, to come to our meeting. Let's see. As a visitor, I think under Louisiana law, I have to ask if anybody wishes to speak in favor of this addition, or if there's anybody who wishes to speak against. So, is there anybody who wishes to speak in favor or against this addition? Okay, the public hearing is closed at this time. Can we please vote to move and expand this item to our visitors agenda? This has to pass by 100%, otherwise they will be under citizens' comments, so please vote yes. Commissioner Smith, did you mean to vote no? Would you vote yes?
No, yes.
Okay, so that does.
Wrong with this. It does that a lot.
That smash it. That passes 100%. Commissioner Smith actually meant to vote yes. Ms. Nations, you can show that. So that will be added on our agenda for today under visitors. Our next item, if I'm correct, Michelle, is citizens' comments, correct? Yes. Okay, citizen comments. Citizens who wish to address the commission must fill out a comment card and forward it to myself or the clerk of the commission. Comments by any citizens will be limited by 3 to 3 minutes. I do not see any cards. Do you have any cards? No. Wonderful. Good. Mr. Settle didn't want to speak today. I'm going to have a heart attack and pass out up here. Okay, all right. Good job. Now we'll move to our visitors.
Mr. Rich Lamb, Chairman of Sideport. An update of events taking place at Sideport Discovery Center
Okay, is that for today or for Thursday?
today.
You speaking today?
Okay. Hello, Mr. Lamb, how you doing?
Hello, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for letting me come today.
Okay, if you'll give us your name and tell us what you're here for, and then you have, I forgot how many minutes it is, but. Okay, go ahead.
Thank you. My name is Rich Lamb. I'm a local attorney, but I'm here in my capacity as chairman of the board of Sideport's Board of Directors, position I took in December of 2017. And I'm here to just update on everyone what's been going on, and to answer any questions anyone might have. Well, first off, as many of you know, in August 2017, the Board of Directors of Sideport decided to shut down Sideport and enter into a management agreement with Planet Aqua Group, where we were outsourcing the role of executive director to Planet Aqua Group. The reasons for that were that Sideport's financial arrangements were not sustainable. Its model was not sustainable for one primary reason, which ultimately led to other issues, which was a payroll in excess of $2 million, a year, that lasted for many years. And payroll shortfall, other things followed that, but the ultimate issue that led to other issues was the payroll. Some other decisions were made, which also in hindsight were not good. But anyway, we made the announcement in August, shut down in September, with the full intention of engaging Planet Aqua Group to manage a large number of employees and then to oversee construction and remodel of Sideport. During that time, we sought to raise funds and also began to make plans. But as the Board of Directors began to get into the nitty-gritty of certain files and certain documents that were previously managed by day-to-day employees, we found a number of issues, tax issues. We found a copier lease agreement that was binding for 5 years at $75,000 over the course of 5 years. A number of other things that just were ridiculous, absurd, and things that we didn't know because they were stuck in files and never shown to us. In November, well, first off, we also said we're going to reopen December 31st. That was a date pushed by the board of Sideport. Planet Aqua Group thought we needed till January, February, but the board, and I'll take full responsibility, I pushed for it too, thinking it was a realistic date, and we could start off the new year with a bang at our Toast event, which we have each year. So I wanted to make sure that everyone knows that was not Planet Aqua Group's fault, that was our fault. We pushed that, and we didn't have the funds or the resources to make it happen. During that time, we were distracted by the number of issues we found related to the day-to-day operations of Sideport, which completely mitigated the positive effects of remodeling Sideport, hiring new people, things like that. In November, towards the end of November, actually around Thanksgiving, we finally accepted that December 31st probably wasn't going to happen. And during that time, our sole focus became one, dealing with our relationship with Planet Aqua Group, which we had to cancel or suspend actually, because we simply couldn't afford to pay them to oversee employees we didn't have and construction we weren't doing. And so then our focus began to focus on keeping these key employees that were retained after we laid off most employees in August. These are key employees like IMAX operators, planetarium operators, exhibit repair, educational outreach, the kind of folks that if we lost, we couldn't go down to Gene Simpson and say, hey, give me a list of your 5 IMAX operators. Oh, by the way, it's the only domed IMAX in the state. Or, hey, you have anyone that has a planetarium, knows how to operate a planetarium. If we lost those folks, then we would be a lot further off from reopening. Through the help of generous donors, individual directors showing up with personal checks, we were able to meet payroll until February 23rd, at which point we began to explore options, and we secured not permanent funding, but guaranteed funding for a number of months to cover our minimum payroll obligations. Once we received that guarantee, we decided that we can reopen parts of Sideport. We're fortunate in that certain parts of Sideport are segregated from the rest of the facility. They're isolated. They can be partitioned off from the rest of the facility, like POP, our Power of Play Museum, IMAX, and those two in particular, because we have separate entries, we have separate gates, and we have the employees to open those up. And so on March 1st, we reopened POP, and then on April 6th, we're reopening IMAX. We got a free movie. POP, when we first opened, employees that were doing educational outreach, IMAX, are now working in POP. They're also doing some of the janitorial services. Individual directors are volunteering their time to operate it, and the response has been very positive. First off, in the first 8 days of being open, 1,005 people came through the door. That's just for that one small part of the museum. I don't have the numbers for this past weekend. That's why it's only the first 8 days. We have made a lot more money than we expected, primarily because memberships, which allow people to get them for free, only constitute 15% of the people that came through the door. And so that's big. We had a lot of paying customers coming through the door. And so IMAX, and so while POP is designed for kids generally 8 or younger, IMAX is a totally different demographic. So we're excited about having new people and more people coming through the doors in that regard. What's Southport doing right now? One, we're working with our creditors to try to figure out responsible solutions for Southport. We are, now that we have our payroll taken care of for a period of time, the board can finally shift its focus onto other things, like how we're going to reopen the rest of the facility. We have 2 or 3 plans right now we're running traps on, both legally and financially, to make sure that we pick a plan that's sustainable. The one thing I can tell you is that Southport will be reopened incrementally. We are not going to rush this. We think that's the most responsible way to do it. We do not want to go out and hire a bunch of people or engage in a lot of expensive construction until we know our plan is sustainable. And we think the incremental reopening is the way to do that. One thing I can tell you is our payroll will be nowhere near $2 million. It was, one of the examples I give is a Southport employee, part-time or full-time, could accrue 200 hours a year of paid vacation. And that's worse than Denmark. And so things we're looking at outsourcing, food in the gift shop. The restaurant business is hard enough. We didn't do a good job of keeping our science center open. We don't need to be in the restaurant business. In the meantime, we're reaching out to food trucks and going to work out a solution so they can come and park in our parking lot and sell food to our patrons, and also to our neighborhood, to the downtown, our downtown neighbors. We think the food truck solution is great for us. They bring the food truck, they have their own employees, and they sell to our patrons at times that are good for them. We've already had people reach out to us about weddings. Southport's actually hosted quite a few weddings. Private parties have been showing up, and people have expressed interest in purchasing new memberships. We are not going to sell new memberships until we work out the solution for the rest of Southport. One thing we are doing is we are honoring all prior memberships. For right now, everyone gets into POP for free where that wasn't the case. The only tolling on the timeline of the memberships that is taking place are people that have memberships solely for POP. We are not, so if someone had 6 months left in their membership when we shut down, we're not going to start counting the other 6 months until the entire facility is reopened. We think that's the fair thing to do and the right way to do that. As we're able to afford and as we're able to identify things that we can responsibly provide some incentives or gifts to members that stuck with us, we're going to try to find a way to do that. At this time, we don't really have much money, so we're not going to go out there and try to do something that we really can't afford to do. One thing I'm very encouraged about, as I mentioned, these employees that are super specialized, that we can't replace, taking up and volunteering for roles that is normally not within their job description, directors putting their own money, sometimes on a large scale, up to help back up the organization, the concern and interest expressed by a large number of donors who upon seeing a plan that they approve of, are willing to step up to help us out. And I've been meeting with a lot of people, particularly this year, particularly in January and February, and there are a lot of people who can help us in a big way. We work with them to engage in some dialogue about what that plan for reopening might be, but what people have to remember is the board of directors can legally make any decision at once, but the reality is we have to talk to our donors who pay for the plan, and 2, it has to pass muster with the city government and other government entities that regulate us and also provide us with funding. And so the ability to make decisions quickly is very, very hard because our decision-making process is spread so many across so many places. It's really hard to get a big donor to sit down and talk with you in December when it's duck hunting season or holiday season. A lot of people travel. It's hard to get the city folks who have a lot of other stuff going on to sit down where we can all sit down in the same room and make decisions. That's real hard. They're working to do it, we're working to do it, but I want everyone to understand that. The board can make all kinds of decisions, but if you want anything to get done, we have to have the donors and the government entities involved who are effectively part of that decision-making process. Anyway, I know I didn't explain everything. That's generally what's going on. Our numbers are still doing well. There hadn't been a drop-off in the POP memberships or POP admissions. A lot of it has to do with the fact that those kids are entertained in the same way each time. We're excited about IMAX, and we're excited to finalize a plan soon of reopening the rest of the facility to the public. And if anyone has any questions, I believe I spoke
We have
too long.
one Commissioner Atkins.
I was just going to say, Mr. Lamb, thanks for coming by. Thanks for updating us. I know it's a challenging task you have in front of you, and as a volunteer to the Southport Board, we appreciate your service to the effort.
Thank you very much. Thank you. We have some hardworking people, and we're not perfect, but we are doing the best we can.
Commissioner Lynn?
Mr. Lamb, I commend you for taking the helm in such dire states. One of the things you said today was that there were things in the files that weren't revealed to you. Is there an intent to deceive?
I can't prove that. Here's what I'm going to be really careful of. For my birthday party at Southport when I was 12 years old, I did not reaffiliate with Southport until January 2015. I want to be really careful criticizing decisions of those before me because I don't know what they were told and what they had in their possession. And so I want to be real careful about that. Intent, we found some decision-making financially that wasn't great. Never did we see anything where people were buying jet skis or going, there was none of that.
Okay.
Some bad decisions, yes, but nothing that implied that somebody was crossing that line. We believe we've gone through everything, but when you have physical files and not digital, sometimes you find stuff that.
Of the monies that are owed, is any of this money owed to the IRS?
No.
No? Okay,
No.
That's fortunate. Good for y'all.
Yes, we have no payroll tax issue. That'd be real bad.
Right. I mean, and so at least everybody is human.
Yes,
Anyway.
exactly. So we've kept up with our payroll tax obligations. That's automatically paid by our payroll processing company.
Great. Well, I see hope then.
Yeah.
Thank you. That's all, Mr. President.
Commissioner Stormy Gage Watts?
Thank you. Yes, sir. I just had one question. I wanted you to expound on the incremental openings that you will be doing this side.
Right. So there's one plan I'm really excited about, but I cannot say anything because I don't want to have egg on my face after I talk about that. Keep in mind, I was also the person that pushed for the 12/31 opening, so I'm going to be real careful what I say.
All right.
Also, but there are certain approvals that legally not necessary, but we want to get for practical purposes, keep everyone on the same page. We have 3 plans, there's one in particular I'm real excited about. And the incremental opening, what I mean by that exactly is different physical spaces of Southport. For example, we have a lot of places, we not only have POP and IMAC separated by separate gates,
Right.
we have a first or second floor.
Right.
So instead of jumping all in on a 92,000 square foot specialized facility, we could maybe do floors or sections or things like that. We've been fortunate to have construction walls donated. We've had people donate their services in the past couple of weeks to provide railings and stuff like that that are going to allow us to do that. We should be real careful because, again, the thing that initiated all the problems from a financial perspective was that really high payroll and having to meet that payroll obligation every 2 weeks. And it's not the part-time employees, it's the full-time salaried employees that get paid no matter what. And so when we open more space, we have to hire more people. And that's what we want to be real careful with because that can, once you start that process, it's hard to go back. And we just want to be real smart about that. And so I don't know how many people hire, but we're going to be real careful with that.
Okay, that's the response that I was hoping that you would go for. I didn't want you to disclose any information
Yeah.
before time. We know way too well about saying things before it's time to release it. So with that being said, I think a lot of people just can get the visual of what your plans are and how you will operate the facilities.
And there are some other plans that are more complicated, but one of the big things on selling this is, and the public is just as much a part of that decision process as the donors and the government entities, is it has to be a plan that everyone understands for everyone to jump on board. I happen to be an attorney and I can sometimes make things more complicated than they need to be. It's got to be something you can sell, you can give an elevator talk on what you're doing. And also I want to point out, we don't have an executive director, so right now it's being managed by the board of directors who also have full-time jobs and other charitable board positions. And so we are going to be real careful until we have an executive director in place too, because it's crucial to have that person play a role in that planning.
Awesome. Thank you for what you're doing to ensure and hopefully get everything back to operations. The Southport is a great place for everyone. So I think it's an important component in our communities, and I hope that we are able to continue to support it.
Thank you.
And Commissioner Jackson?
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. Mr. Lamb, thank you for your service and your time, effort, and energy and on the Southport issue. My question is, I heard you say that even some of the directors take out some of their money, or any, you said none are owed to the IRS, or any owed to directors or
There is one debt to a former director that loaned $100,000 of their personal money to Southport 2 or 3 years ago.
Okay.
And then, but the director donations I'm talking about recently were people running up well into the 5-figure checks to ensure that those employees were paid on time. But that was a donation.
That was a complete 100% true donation.
That was a donation.
Okay. And that's the one from DDA. Is that what you're talking about?
No, that's a new one. So what the new thing is, we got two, one director and one non-director, each committed 10 grand to help back up. And that's just, we didn't want to rely just on admissions revenue alone. We didn't want to reopen for 2 weeks and have to shut down because we didn't make it much. I mean, again, it's like being in the restaurant business. We don't need to be doing that. We need something more sustainable. And so we withheld on reopening parts of POP and stuff like that. We had it backed up in 2 months. DSCC committed for 1 month. With the, I'm going to talk to them on the 22nd where they might extend. They wanted to make sure the public was still interested and people came through the doors. And so they committed to 1 month, and we haven't tapped into those funds at all. It's just a backstop. They're not giving us a check and we hold it. We only go see them when we don't have enough money in our account to pay those employees. Same with the donors. Only one of those donors has cut a check, and it's merely to have a little cushion, not a huge cushion. The other donor, we haven't asked them to cut that check yet. We've been very fortunate to 85% of these people have been paying customers, paying $10 a head.
So y'all basically operate month to month right now? Is that safe to say?
I would say that. We're good for several months right now, but we're being careful we're just doing month to month for right now.
How much is actually needed, or what is there a specific ask of Caddo Parish?
I'm sorry?
Is there a specific ask of Caddo Parish?
We're not asking for any money right now.
Right now. So when you come, is there a specific ask of Southport, or what is Caddo Parish's role?
Nothing as of now. I see, I mean, there are children from Caddo Parish. Y'all have given us money in the past, but right now there is no specific ask, and I have not been authorized to make a specific ask.
You said right now there's no ask.
I'm not going to say anything's off the table.
So
Yeah.
we could probably expect an ask.
I would think so. That's been consistent with our past practices.
Okay. Have you read our charter, Mr. Lamb?
I did once, but I can't say it was something I've looked at in quite some time.
He fell asleep.
Would you be interested in reading it again?
Sure.
If you could read our charter, and you can use whatever interpretation, whether you want to use the liberal or the conservative interpretation on it. There seems to be a box that's been made, and so if you could identify where Southport would fit in into that, I think that the Children's Museum and the science and STEM aspect of it is vital to our community. But there's a school of thought that has been conveyed that if it's not roads and bridges, juvenile, animal services, and public works,
oh, sure, yeah,
that we ought not be endeavoring into it. And so I just want to be on the record, and I want to ask as an attorney, and I assume that you're a very capable attorney. Are you the Richard Lamb that got the 40 under 40 this year?
Yes.
Okay. So I think I even sent you a note.
My father's giving you legal advice. You have other problems, yeah.
And we're not asking for legal advice. But if you could, just as a matter of an exercise, do that and see how do you fit. Because I mean, from my thought, I think if there was a way to help reasonably, I don't want to back myself into a corner.
I believe the Caddo Commission did roughly 60 to 75 a year in prior years. That number changed a few times, and so I'm assuming there's some precedent for giving Southport in that context. But in terms of reviewing that, because things should always be subject to review,
right.
I'll be sure to take a look at that. And
just a matter of exercise, nothing that you have to do. Just if you could, I assume in making your case, because you seem to suggest that you guys will be back, guys and girls will be back before the commission or the city council.
Well, maybe
some type of action.
I'm using this in the city council as a public and recorded way to answer certain questions, because I'm supposed to be, we're part-time directors, we're acting full-time, but it's very hard to answer all these questions at one time. We thought this would be the best forum to knock that out. The city council was really helpful not in terms of helping me, but just give me a medium to
forum.
address questions. Yeah.
Correct.
And
Absolutely.
some of the
what
questions
this
we
is
got
for.
here. Right.
And that's what this is for.
Yeah, exactly.
Do you know if Southport is compliant with their current funding that they receive from the parish?
I'm not sure. It wouldn't surprise me if they weren't, given all the other problems we've had. It's been going through, it's essentially us going through and figuring out, reverse engineering some decisions that have been made.
And let me ask you this, and I'm wrapping up. How long have you been a director for Southport?
January 2015.
Of 2015?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so roughly, 3 years now? Maybe.
Yeah.
So as a part-time director, do you feel that there were some things that you probably could have asked greater questions of your staff or in
There
hindsight?
were, and those questions were asked. And one thing that's very important to understand is when we ask questions of the staff, they always had some resource that explained what they were doing. Let me give you an example.
Okay.
An unaffiliated foundation paid for a consultant to come in.
Okay.
And now when I hear the word consultant, it scares me to death. They came in and said our accounting practices were best practices and that we didn't have enough employees and that our management was excellent. It's like, okay, well, we have this third party that somebody paid a lot of money for. You know, it's you put in front of us, say, hey, these are expert in this field. You know, I'm a lawyer, and granted I'm a tax lawyer, but I'm not a CPA or accountant, so it's just, why not rely on what these people are saying? We also had someone come in, this is January of 2017, say, y'all don't have enough people working at Southport. This is an unaffiliated foundation paid for a consultant, and I want to say Michigan. And she came in with all her credentials and said, I'll say this, when she said that, our chairman at the time goes, you got to be kidding me. You know, we have so many employees. There was a lot of conflicting information from third parties that really backed up decisions that were made that were hard to negate. I mean, I'm a lawyer that practices in businesses and stuff like that, form LLCs. I don't look at the background of children's museums. I certainly have the databases to go through and compare them. But it was, and I think there's a Shreveport Times article about that. It's called Booth Learning was the deal. Now, I take it with me. Usually I have it with me wherever I go because it's like, this is what was shoved in front of us when we made the calls.
One last thing. Would you consider Southport a private or public?
That's an interesting question. So one thing is, and I share a worldview that there should be a partition in between the non-government world and the government world, and I'll leave it at that. But Southport is different. You know, this was not something that 5 or 6 rich people put together, a private nonprofit. This was very much a creature of government, and that the formation of Southport was pursuant to a cooperative endeavor agreement between Southport Discovery Center, a Louisiana nonprofit corporation, the city of Shreveport, and the state of Louisiana. And the government played a major role in that process, including the construction of a $21 million facility. Which
Who owns that facility?
The city of Shreveport owns that facility and everything inside of it.
Okay. So this is an asset of the city of Shreveport.
Correct. I think. Well, it's on their balance sheet. Yes, I think it's an asset for all of us.
All of us.
As citizens of the community.
Okay.
Yeah.
But the physical assets belong to.
Nobody else can report that on their financial statements but the city of Shreveport.
Okay, that's a good attorney. That's a good lawyer response.
Yeah. I took to school a long time to learn how to do that.
And so, how do you see them playing in the what you assume may become an ask?
They're going to play a big role, and honestly, with one of the plans, it's not going to be an ask of them. Now, they pay our insurance, and they pay for.
But it's their building.
It's their building, and for extraordinary maintenance. Note, it's not a landlord-lessee formal relationship, but it's treated that way, whereas under Louisiana law, landlord's responsible for extraordinary things like that. Like the HVAC needs to be replaced, but they aren't going to go repaint the inside.
But when we hear the talking points that say, well, the city has already paid this and the city has already paid for that, and the commission, they've only given $60,000 this year, but the city has put out millions of dollars, which sounds like you're saying that this is a city of Shreveport endeavor.
Well, there's a different context to understand, which is the Caddo Parish and Bossier Parish kids that come to those doors at tremendous discounts, also known as we call them Title I kids. And there are certain monies that are allocated to those kids.
At the Caddo Parish, we have kids at the parish commission, or you're talking about the school board?
So I was told, and again, I don't understand the formal relationship, that the commission has paid for that because
Right.
the school board cannot
Absolutely.
pay for that directly. And I'm assuming that's the same application in Bossier. And also, as part of that, an educator from each parish is at Southport to coordinate field trips and stuff like that, which are big revenue source for us.
Thank you, Mr. Lamb. I just wanted to make it clear that some folks will say that the Parish Commission may be either derelict or sort of sedentary in our support of Southport. I would tend to think we've gone above and beyond with our support, and I think there may be an openness to do more. I can't say that there is or isn't. But I do
All the
wanna-
relationships need to be reevaluated in light of our new undertaking.
Right. Would you agree that that relationship with the parish shouldn't just be strictly financial? Or you're not ready to have that conversation?
What other than financial would?
I mean, I don't know that the parish has any board members. Do we get to appoint a board of directors or anything like that, or as far as governance?
I
Dr.
know the
Wilson-
city council does. I'm not sure if the Caddo Parish Commission does.
Right.
And,
So that's what I'm saying
yeah.
is, when you say reevaluating the relationship.
When I say, I mean, everything's on the table that is legal and ethical.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
So I mean, we're not going to, even if it's not our idea, we don't care. We want all ideas on the table because that's the only way we're going to make a good decision.
What about having a public session with just the general public? Is Southport Board open to that? Because I know there's a lot of conversation out there.
In a couple of months, maybe. Right now, we are stretched so thin. And what we did is, as a way to try to respond to things, we created a certain email addresses to submit questions and things like that. For example, someone's question about memberships. We have people, oftentimes directors, in their spare time checking that out. I have one for chairman. I'll be honest, I check it at probably 11 o'clock each night. That's when I can do it.
So people can email you with the public can email you with their concern about Southport.
Correct. And the best way to do that is to send that to that designated account, chairman@southport.org. And
Chairman at Southport.
Correct. And general questions about Southport that are non-government related, that are just, hey, what are your hours, stuff like that, info@southport.org, and questions about memberships. And it's on our Facebook page. It's membership or memberships. I don't remember if it's singular or plural, at southport.org. And that's going to be, because it's free, our medium for communication is going to be Facebook.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you. I saw a young man writing, so that's why I wanted to repeat that information. So I appreciate it. Thank you, Mr.
Yeah, thank you.
Appreciate it.
Just one thing before I get to Commissioner Atkins, just remind that this was put on by Commissioner Atkins just for a preliminary update. There was no anything about financial requests, financial giving. It was just for an update, and I think y'all had requested to come to the commission. We appreciate your hard work, appreciate you being on the board. Commissioner Atkins, and just remember, we do have a timeline, so let's
Thank you, President
keep it
Dominic.
going.
I assure you I'll be brief. I did want to reiterate the point you just made. Mr. Lamb asked for some time on the agenda to give us an update. I agreed to that request. I in no way intended to support or imply support for financial contributions from Caddo Parish Commission to Southport at this time. That Mr. Lamb and I never discussed any financial contributions. That was not part of our discussion. It was just simply an update.
Thank you so
And I
much.
do believe we should stay in the box.
I do too. He probably
Yeah.
felt like he was in a court hearing today.
I've rattled my tin cup enough. I was glad to come and have a conversation without asking for money.
Thank you, Mr. Lamb, appreciate it.
All right, thank you. Y'all have a good day.
Okay,
President.
next item, Ms.
President.
Michelle.
We have no old business, we move to new business.
Hang on, oh, I'm sorry.
I just wanted to, he's gone now, but I do want to just, I never intended to imply or insinuate that someone was, Mr. Lamb, I don't want you to think that you were here. You came down, and what we do when folks come down, we ask questions to get the information out. I have constituents who live in my district who are asking questions. Southport is in District 3, so I think it's just fair for the public to have that source of information. I thank you. I don't want you to think that you're being badgered here today, so thank you for going through the process. Thank you.
Michelle, did those two additions go here, or are they later on?
They're, for a vote for a visitor for Thursday.
So they'll be later on, we'll vote on? Okay. All right, we'll go ahead and let you take up back in charge.
Authorize introduction of zoning case P-2-18 in regards to ordinance number 5757 of 2018, amending the zoning of property located on the
Move to
east
forward to
side.
Thursday.
Okay, got a motion by Commissioner Atkins, seconded by Commissioner Middleton to move zoning case P-2-18 to Thursday. Please vote.
You haven't checked the board.
I'm sorry. Hang on one second before we vote. Commissioner Linda Johnson?
Yeah, I just want to know a little bit more about it before we vote on it. That's all.
Okay,
Who's the area?
you need to ask
yours.
Mr.
Mr.
Sweeney?
Sweeney, he
Mr.
come
Sweeney,
up.
can you come up and tell us about this case P-2-18?
Is it serious?
Who is District 9? Is that you,
Is
John?
Commissioner Atkins the one who said it?
Yes, and which case are we talking about now? This is-
P-2-18 regarding property located on the east side of Linwood.
The
Yes.
steel fabricator.
Yes, this is a really good example of a piece of property that
What
was
property?
a piece of property
Okay.
that was an industrial facility for many years, actually predates even the previous code that we had in the parish. And so the business came into place. It was never, ever zoned appropriately, ever. And it operated for a long period of time. And then it closed down. And under the rules, both for the old code and the UDC, when you close down for a year or longer, you lose all of your rights and all of your pre-existing conditions, so to speak, or your non-conforming status.
Right.
So it went away. So a new property, the property was purchased by a new owner out of Texas, and he wanted to reestablish that as a viable business. So we realized, and we'd been in conversations with him for quite a long period of time. This is actually before y'all had adopted the UDC, and it went into effect in December. And he waited until you got the new UDC on the books in December, and then he came forward with an application. And the way to get him there was to do what we call a planned unit development, because we couldn't do just strict industrial zoning in the middle of a neighborhood. And that's because that whole area is surrounded by an existing neighborhood. It's all residentially zoned. And so it became apparent we had to give him a pathway. We've been working with him, and this pathway would allow him to reestablish the business through what we call a C1 planned unit development. And C1 is considered compatible with residential neighborhoods. And so we negotiated with him to get to a point where he could add in some amenities and some protections for that neighborhood, at the same time able to clean up the site and bring it back as a welding and fabricating shop. And so now this puts him in a position to market the property, and this is where he wanted to get to so that he could actually make this a viable business again in the parish.
Did we have a lot of objections from any of the neighbors or anything like that?
No. In fact, when he went around, and I complimented him on this, when he went around to the neighbors, they said, well, when are you going to open? Because I need a job. And we said, this is great.
Thank you. Commissioner Johnson, do you have any questions?
So he's taking it from that to making it into a dental office and a restaurant with a patio?
Okay, now, I'm talking about the one that was the one on Linwood.
That's another one.
No, you're talking about the one that's that's over in the other location, which is the one off of Ellerby and Flournoy
I'm looking at
Lucas.
the wrong one. My
Is
bad.
that, did you, okay.
That's the next
He's
one.
this guy's doing a welding shop, Lyndon.
Okay.
Fabrication.
Welding and fabrication.
I was clicked on the wrong one.
That's okay.
That's all right. It happens.
You good for this?
I'm good, yeah.
Okay.
Commissioner Cawthorn, you got any questions?
No.
And Commissioner Atkins, you're aware of this and you're supporting this?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so let's please vote for this to move forward to Thursday. Commissioner Sweeney, you may want to grab a seat right there. I think Commissioner Johnson's going to have some questions on the next one, so I would just maybe stand hold. Okay, that passes 12-0. Going to the next item. Michelle?
Authorize introduction of zoning case P-5-18 in regards to ordinance number 5758 of 2018, amending the zoning of property located on the south side of East Flournoy Lucas Road, 850 feet east of First Street, from R-1-7 single-family residential district to C-1 neighborhood commercial district.
So moved.
Okay, that's moved by Commissioner Chavez and seconded by Commissioner Bowman. Commissioner Johnson, I think you have some questions about this one, so
Yes, just
I'll
some
let you.
additional information that's.
Mr. Sweeney?
This is a good example where, again, you have a lot of residential zone properties. It was R17, which is on this south side of Flournoy Lucas. And the applicant wanted to come in and put in, and he told us, even though he hasn't got everything completely ironed out, he wants to do a dental office and a restaurant. Well, at the time, he thought, well, I want a restaurant with an outdoor seating area. So you have to get a special use permit in order to do that. Since he did not have a tenant signed up and he didn't really know what he was going to have, we said in order to protect the neighborhood, the best thing to do is to zone it C1 rather than C2. and then come back. If you do get a tenant that doesn't want an outdoor patio, then we'll go through the special use permit process and get your approval through that. And he was amenable to that and had no problem.
So that's what we're doing. He's
Yes,
fixing
we're, instead of going what was advertised as C2, it's now going to be C1 because that was a workable solution to what he needed to do.
So no outdoor patio.
At this time,
Okay.
no, and if he does need one,
He'll
he can
come
come
back.
back. That's right.
And you're aware of this and you're supporting this? Okay. Commissioner Johnson, you got any questions?
Are these new UDC changes, are they a hindrance to people that's trying to open up new businesses, or is it helping them out?
Actually, it's helping them out because it's kind of a balancing act. If you're going to you try to protect your residential areas that are adjacent to these potential commercial properties, at the same time we're giving them the opportunity to come in and do essentially what they wanted to do. If they do reach that point where they need something else, they have a pathway to get there. So all these are pathways that allow not only the safety and protection of the neighborhoods, but also at the same time gives them a legitimate pathway to get what they want.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Commissioner Lynn?
I guess in a scenario like this, I guess the commission, with the lead of the representative from that area, technically at the final of this ordinance in a couple of weeks could say, and include outside dining up to so many square feet. And then they wouldn't have to come back and spend an additional $750 and go through the process of doing that, and it would be available to them. That's not for Mr. Sweeney, really. That's more for our parliamentarian first, I guess.
I'm going to seek legal on that. Can we actually add that amendment to change the zoning from the floor?
You all have done that before.
Okay, thank you. That's all, Mr. President.
Thank you. Okay, please vote. Let's move this to Thursday. Thank you, Commissioner Lynn. And that passes 12-0. We'll move on to our next item.
Authorize introduction of ordinance number 5759 of 2018, amending Article 3 of Chapter 19 of the Code of Ordinances relative to the E. Edward Jones Housing Trust Fund to establish the fund and provide therefore.
So move to Thursday.
Motion by Commissioner Jackson, seconded by Commissioner Lynn to move this to Thursday. Do you have any discussion? See none, please vote. Okay, that passes 9-3. Okay, move to the next item.
Authorize introduction of ordinance number 5760 of 2018, an ordinance amending the budget of estimated revenues and expenditures for the general fund and the economic development fund to provide an appropriation of $50,000 for the Miss USA pageant.
So
Move to Thursday.
Second.
Okay, that's moved by Commissioner Stormy Gage Watts, seconded by Commissioner Bowman. Moved that to Thursday. Please vote.
On board.
Commissioner Lyndon Johnson.
Yeah, I was going to ask Ms. Stacey Brown to come up to give us some more information about this and the economic impact that this pageant would bring to the Shreveport-Bossier area.
Is she on the agenda today? Okay, go ahead.
Good afternoon, Commissioners.
Good
Thank you.
afternoon.
Appreciate you allowing me to come before you today. Just tell you a little bit more about the pageants. We did have an announcement today that the Shreveport-Bossier, Caddo, and Bossier parishes will be the host of the 2018 Miss USA and Miss Teen USA pageants. This will be another first. So this will be the first time they have ever been held concurrently. So they will be here during the same 2-week time period. The Miss Teen USA pageant will be doing their finals on May the 18th and the Miss USA on May the 21st. The contestants will be in town for a couple of weeks, so they'll be getting out and about in the community, visiting our attractions, our businesses, our schools, our hospitals, and really getting to know our community and also showcasing us in a very positive light to the national media as well. So this will be televised in over 70 countries around the world. Of course, social media is a huge part of it, and we be shown through social media through all of the contestants. There will be 102, so 51 of each, Miss Tina, Miss USA, and they are very active in social media and recognize the positive aspects of our community and make sure people know what those are and how they can influence our community. One of the reasons this is so important is the direct economic impact. So we know from when they were in Baton Rouge in 2015, they applied for the live performance tax credits. So the only way they can receive tax credits is to prove their in-state spend. So obviously their in-state spend would be mainly in that direct area where they're located. Back in 2015, for just Miss USA, it did not include Miss Teen USA, they spent almost $4.3 million in the state, so in the Baton Rouge area. This time they'll be coming for Miss USA and Miss Teen, so they expect their expend to be about $4.5 to $5 million direct spend from the pageant itself. That does not include all of their friends and family and fans that will be traveling in to stay in our hotels, eat in our restaurants, go shopping at our stores. Another part of that is they actually hire a number of local people to help put on the production. They will also be utilizing some film students as interns during the program. So there are many ways that this can touch our community and really expand what we have to offer to our citizens, as well as enticing businesses and others from outside the community to come into our area.
Yes, and one other most important thing is that it will be in Shreveport, Caddo Parish at the Hearst Coliseum. The Hearst has went through a lot of renovation lately, and this will be a good time to showcase it as it has been updated in the last few months.
Yes, there will be 5 ticketed events. So the preliminaries of Miss Teen USA will be at Horseshoe River Dome. Then the finals of Miss Teen USA will be at the Hirsch, George's Pond, Hirsch Coliseum. Then the finals, then the prelims, rehearsal, and finals of the Miss USA will be at George's Pond at Hirsch Coliseum. So there will be 5 ticketed events.
Commissioner Jackson?
Oh, I'm sorry. I think I'm on for something else, but I guess since you called me, I missed the dates.
You don't have
what
to.
Are the dates?
No,
I missed
will
the dates.
because I know you're not coming.
What were the dates?
The date of the finals of the Miss
No,
Teen.
is it a week or just a one day?
They'll be here. Some of them will start coming in by May the 10th. Some
I
will
wanna make
actually
sure I got a
hear
haircut.
before then. That's right. So May the 10th is your target date.
Okay, May 10th.
Yes.
Okay, all right, so pretty close.
Okay, I'm gonna speak real quick before Stormy speaks. I just, Stacy and I have spoken over the last week and a half about this, and John, but we really let Commissioner Stormy Gage Watts take the lead on this, who's done an excellent job, and I thank you and appreciate you. There was a time when they were coming in and John and I were working and couldn't meet. Stormy go get it, and heard that she was at the press conference today, which I couldn't meet because I was in a committee meeting, and did an excellent job representing the commission. And I know that Commissioner Bowman's extremely excited because that, it being in the Hirsch, is in his district. So I think this is a wonderful thing, and I think Bossier Parish, Bossier City, Shreveport, all of them are stepping up. So
yes,
look forward to us being a part of that too.
Awesome.
Commissioner Stormy Gage Watts.
Thank you, Mr. President. I appreciate the opportunity to be able to serve as a representative of Caddo Parish Commission. Today was pretty exciting, Stacy, and I am saying congratulations again to all of us who are partnering together to make this a successful event. I cannot say how much it is a pleasure to be able to host it in our parish, as well as the city of Shreveport joining forces, because that's what it's all about, us coming together with a common goal. And this is not just a pageant, it's a platform. I love the fact how you just talked about the educational outreach component of it. We have community involvement, and it's something to do for everyone. This is not a biased event because it is all women, but it is something that we can do for each and every person inside of the citizens of Caddo Parish. That is our job, to improve the quality of life, and we partner with so many other organizations to bring something like this. But the exposure that Caddo Parish, the city of Shreveport, the state of Louisiana is going to get for having 2 major events, Miss USA, Miss Teen USA, one girl has 8 million followers. I can just only imagine what it's going to do to make us more of a tourist attraction, that destination location that we should be, because we have so many great things to offer. So I am just elated about having to be the hosting place for the Miss USA and Miss Teen USA. So thank you all.
Thank you. Yes, these ladies are very accomplished. The current reigning Miss USA, who's in town about to head to the airport, she is actually a nuclear scientist. The current Miss Teen USA is at the University of Kentucky studying political science as well as English, and she plans to attend law school. So they're very much into their education as well as into the beauty pageant.
Commissioner Chavez?
I just didn't want us to leave out that our beautiful own Lauren Vizza, who represents us in Caddo Parish, and also Miss Louisiana USA, now gets to compete in her own home city. So I think this is incredible.
It is incredible.
We'll hear from her on Thursday. That's all, President.
Yes. And just if I could add one more thing, this is the 20th anniversary of being hosted here the first time. Mm-hmm. And as a part of that, our hosts will be Vanessa and Nick Lachey. So Vanessa was actually Vanessa Manillo back then. So in '98, she was here and was crowned Miss Teen USA. So she's really excited to be coming back and hosting.
Thank you, Stacey. Thank you so much.
And Mr. President, those are major celebrities. I know a lot of older people may not know. Not that y'all are older, but that's another reason why we should support
National
something.
Performing Artists.
Yes.
Be looking at that side, talking about older.
And I also want y'all to remember that there's other things on the horizon as well. And just like we're going to support this, we need to support that as well.
Okay, thank you.
Awesome.
Thank you, Stacey.
Thank you.
Okay, please vote.
I'm back on the. Oh. Mr. Chairman, I was on the board.
Okay, I'm sorry. And that passes 12-0. Next item.
Mr. Chairman.
Authorize introduction of ordinance number 5761 of 2018 to close and abandon Gulf Ridge Drive.
So moved.
Second.
I got a motion by Commissioner Chavez, seconded by, help me out,
Okay.
Commissioner Bowman. Commissioner Jackson, were you trying to?
Yes, I was going global and advanced ordinance number 5761, 5762, 5763, 5764. Yeah, it's gonna go global.
Second.
Okay, so I have a motion and a second to in globo. Are we on 5761? Is that what we're? Okay, 5761, 5762, 5763, and 5764. That motion to englobo and move to Thursday is made by Commissioner Jackson, seconded by Commissioner Lynn. Do we have any questions? I do have some people on the board. Commissioner Linda Johnson.
I was going global, but I went in global all of that, so take me off.
Okay, you're off. Commissioner Stormy Gage Watts.
Hey, I have a question about ordinance number 5761. This close and abandon the property.
Robert Glass, can you come up here, please? Whose district is 10?
It's mine.
Okay.
I could talk about this one too, but go ahead, Robert.
Robert, can you update us on 5761, please? This is the close and abandon Gulf Ridge Drive on Los Robles.
On dedication.
This is over there near the Kroger Marketplace off on LB Road. There's a bank moving in. It just passed the MPC like 2 weeks ago, and we put it on today. And
Was it ever built? Was a road built there?
I'm sorry?
Was a road built there?
Yeah, there's a road, but we don't maintain it.
Okay.
And
Is that a private road?
yes,
Okay.
and all the neighbors have agreed to
Everybody's
it.
agreed to it.
Yeah.
Same thing on Simpson?
Yes.
All right, what about the streets in Southern Loop?
Southern Loop that's just a Southern Loop circle. It's on the other side of Norris Ferry. It goes by the Norris Ferry Community Church. It's just very short road with a cul-de-sac on the end of it.
And it's up to standards, we just need to
Oh,
accept?
yeah, now that's a parish road.
We need to accept it in the system, is that what it is, or is that the?
Yeah, we're just accepting it into our system.
Okay, it's time to do that.
Okay. So my question is, you're saying that this is a private road that is not currently owned by Caddo Parish,
Correct.
but we're going to close it?
We don't maintain it. It was built on an old dedication, on a portion of an old dedication, and we've never maintained it because it wasn't built to our standards. And so all the neighbors had to agree to it, because when we abandon it, it'll all become private property, it'll be a private road.
Okay, so as of now, it's not, but we're going to take on the work to take care of it, to close and abandon it.
Just the opposite.
Yeah,
Hang on.
We won't be taking on any work. I mean, we just abandoned it. It's private property.
It'll go back to the landowners.
It'll go back
They
to the
will own it.
landowners. And
So we won't be
they're all in
doing-
agreement how they're gonna handle it after the fact.
Okay, so we won't be doing any work on it?
We won't
We're
be
just
doing anything
accepting
to
it
it.
legally here on paper, saying that we don't have anything to do with it?
That's correct.
Okay.
Yeah, when you abandon the road, one half goes to one side, one half goes to the other side.
Correct.
And apparently this is something the landowner's wanting. It's apparently I guess a road that was dedicated, but we've just never maintained it, and it's just kind of clear up the processes.
It will.
Which happens up in our area all the time, so.
That's correct.
Okay, that's it for now.
Commissioner Jackson?
No, that didn't sound too
It was,
Do what?
I
No,
was,
that didn't sound too
yeah, I was in, I think I was in by accident, but,
But you saying that it was
Yeah.
a parish road, we didn't maintain it.
I think it's two different
And so-
things going on.
A lot of times parish roads are dedicated to the public, but it was never accepted in and was maintained. I don't know if this is one of those or not, but when it's dedicated to the public, even though it's not accepted in and maintained, it's not a parish road, but we still have to abandon it.
We
Am
still
I
have to
correct?
abandon it because there's a public dedication of record in the courthouse that property owns by Caddo Parish. When we abandon that, then it goes to the property, on either side of the property.
I understand that part, but I'm just saying the part that you said, how you said it, is that it was a parish road and we didn't maintain it.
No,
That's the part that
it's-
sounded
There's
bad.
a road there. It's not maintained by the parish. It is on a parish dedication.
Okay.
Because the road, mainly the reason that happens is it happens in subdivisions. A lot of time, there's a dedication out there. The people go and build the road. They don't come to us, ask for inspection or anything like that. So we do not take that road in. It has to be built to our ordinance standards.
So this road wasn't built to
It
the
was not
standard?
built to.
Okay, all right.
Correct.
That clears up a lot. No, I want to make sure, because people are listening to this. And I want nobody to assume that there was a parish road and then we didn't maintain it, and so now we giving it back to the people. So that's all.
Right.
I'm still in.
Commissioner Jackson?
But this is not related to Southern Loop. That's what because I'm kind of lost. The closure and abandonment is not related to Southern Loop, is it?
No.
Okay,
No.
so
They're all
Southern Loop-
totally separate.
We're
Okay.
accepting it.
Simpson Road is
We're accepting the
southwest part of
Southern Loop.
I'm sorry?
We're accepting the Southern Loop, because I got confused.
Southern
I think
Loop,
the
we
two
will be
got off.
accepting. That road was built to parish standards. That's a totally different thing. It's just because it's.
But
the
that's a
abandoned-
private road. The Southern Loop Road is a private road that's coming into our system.
No. It was built, it's public road, built to our standards. It's totally different than these abandonments. Has nothing to do
Okay,
with these
'cause
abandonments.
that's where I got off, because I think
Yeah.
we were on the closure and abandonment,
Yeah.
and then Southern Loop.
Right, no,
kinda
it's totally
popped up.
different, totally
So
separate thing.
Southern Loop is a parish road.
It is a parish road, built to parish standards, and we're just accepting it into our system. Just like any subdivision road that is built correctly, they build it, we wait on it for 2 years, and then
Okay.
we bring it into our system officially.
I may have some questions about
Yeah,
that, but,
it's just because it was with these other two.
right, I saw at least two different moving parts a minute ago. Appreciate it. I'm good now.
Okay, is everybody good with everything? Let's see, Commissioner Chavez?
I was just gonna clarify in District 10, but Robert Glass,
Yeah, that's
thank you,
good.
Robert.
Okay, please vote to Globo and move these items to Thursday.
Can't wait for Thursday.
Yep.
That passes 12-0. Next item.
Authorize resolution number 13 of 2018, ordering and calling a special election to be held in Caddo Parish to authorize renewal of special tax, herein make an application to the State Bond Commission in connection therewith.
So moved.
Second.
Got a motion by the chair, second by Lyndon Johnson. There's any discussion? Ms. Frazier,
I'm sorry, wrong one.
is this on the Is this on the Parish Parks?
Yes.
Okay. So this is to call for the special election in November. We need to move this to Thursday.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Does anybody have any questions? This is on our Parish Parks. Commissioner Atkins.
Commissioner Dominic, I just want to point out, of course, the resolution says special election, but this election will be held with the other general elections. So this is not going to be an individual election off on its own. It's gonna
No,
be with
that was one of the things I think we learned to have it with the main election. Where I guess the mayor and the city council will be running. And remember, if this does not get on the ballot or is passed, then we're going to be like the city. If we had to come back, it'd be a tax increase in the next, because it has to go.
Be a new tax.
No, yeah, new tax.
Just won't have no parks.
Commissioner Jackson?
Yes, I just wanted to know, what's the latest we could get on the ballot? What's the latest we need to notify the bond commission to get on the ballot? And y'all, if y'all don't have it now, just if you can get it to me, what's the latest we get on the ballot? Appreciate it.
Please vote. And that passes 11-2. Okay, next item, Michelle?
10-2.
10-2, I'm sorry, I can't add today.
Authorize resolution number 14 of 2018, submitting to Governor John Bel Edwards a name for appointment for membership on the Red River Waterway Commission.
Okay, I'll move that to Thursday.
Second.
It's made by Chair, seconded by Commissioner Middleton. Just briefly, an individual passed away. I can't remember who it was. Mickey Pressridge, that's correct. This appointment is actually made by the governor, and I think it's upon the recommendation, maybe the state senators, but we have a right to and normally will make a recommendation. Ms. Prater did call me. I had a lengthy discussion. She would like to serve on this board, and I'm supporting her and ask for everybody to move her name forward. Commissioner Jackson?
Oh, I didn't know Mr. Pressridge had passed away. I was just wondering who. I didn't
Yes.
know that.
Yeah, he did.
So sorry to hear that. We hear about others, but so sorry.
Please vote. Someone not vote? There you go. 12-0, so that'll move to Thursday. Next item.
Authorize resolution number 15 of 2018, urging or requesting Governor John Bel Edwards and Louisiana Department of Economic Development to
So
include.
move for introduction.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion by Commissioner Jackson, seconded by Commissioner Atkins for introduction. I can move to Thursday, I guess. Okay, please.
No speaking.
Can you just give us a quick update on this, Commissioner
I
Jackson?
just wanted to, this was a provision within the Tax Cut Act. That was Jobs and Tax Cut Act that passed Congress late 2017. And so what it does is it allows us to identify certain census tracts. I've spoken, I think we will miss the actual deadline, but speaking with Mandy Mitchell from LED, it still will be considered. They have an opportunity to go back within 30 days to amend what they're trying to do. This will allow individuals and corporations to, I believe, double their capital gains deduction or something like that. But it gives them an incentive to invest in areas that have been sort of distressed for investment. What you will note in there is a census tract that I think was very specific is, I think, track 217, which is the med school, so that track is in there as well. And I tried to at least try to find something within everybody's district.
Where did we come up with those?
You could go to Enterprise 360. There's a little tool. You can go to the CDFI fund. There's a tool where you can go in and look at those maps as well. So,
But where did we come up with what tracks are in there, I guess is the question, or should be in there?
oh, I just kind of went through. They have a little metrics, a little formula for how they determine the tracks to be either contiguous or low income. And so they have the profiles on there. They'll tell you on their website how they determine what's eligible and what's not. So I tried to get a sort of snapshot of Caddo Parish, but wanted to make sure that 217 was in there because it has the med school. And
Okay.
if you look at anybody who wants to do any investment, if there's a company that wants to invest there, it should be pretty prime and right for them to do it.
Okay, thank you.
Mhm.
And Commissioner Cawthorn?
Yeah, I just want to address this to Commissioner Jackson. And that was my understanding and appreciation that the governor, he's going to look at all these opportunity zones, which are pretty much akin to the deal under the Clinton administration. What do they call them? The enterprise zone. So it's going to be very simple. But he's going to designate locales, places in our locale that he deems needs to be part of the opportunity zone. And so we as a body, we're going to come collectively and decide on one area, or how do we as each in this resolution, what are we collectively doing? We're going to say that we as a body, we want to designate the zone by the medical center.
Well, there was a public comment period that was open, and so that public comment period ended last Friday at 5 p.m. And so this is basically just trying to add to, I went ahead as a public citizen of Louisiana and submitted what I felt would be, not as the Parish of Caddo, what I felt would be the opportunity zones. And I just pulled up what was on Enterprise 360, and these are it basically says the vast majority of Caddo Parish is really eligible. But you have to take into context that it's the entire state that
Right,
the
I
governor
know.
has to look at, and it's a certain percentage that so the governor even has a cap that he or she has that they can put on the designation. So if there's something that you think that's missing.
Well, as a friendly amendment, and I don't know if it's an action amendment, what I would like to add to it, us as a collective body, what do we think is the best bang for the buck? If the governor's going to designate the area that he's going to choose for these incentives, what's the best bang for the buck for Caddo Parish, or people around this horseshoe, and that recommendation be added to the
Well, let me just say, I think I'd be surprised if he did not accept all of it, because I think if you look at what we're submitting, and if I'm understanding you correctly, if we look at what we're submitting, I think we come in way under the threshold of what needs to be submitted. So
yeah, my only takeaway is just to make sure that if there's going to be if there's going to be limited spots in which he's going to designate, let's see what's going to be the best bang for the buck for Caddo.
Okay. If anybody wants to take a look at it, feel free to add.
Thanks.
Commissioner Middleton?
Yeah, I noticed that there's a letter mentioned here, thank you, but Commissioner Jackson said he looked at to see what's available for each district. There's 12 districts. Did I misunderstand that?
No, what I did was I looked at what Enterprise 360 had out there, and so what they had is designated. I just took that.
Could we maybe get a map that shows these particular areas before Thursday?
Yeah, I assume you can look like Commissioner Lynn, just put in the census tract. You can just Google the census tracts and it'll come up, they'll come up.
Yeah, I'm doing that right now. Administration, can we get a map before Thursday?
I'm not sure we can print that out, but I'd like to comment on that at the right time.
Okay.
And I'm on the board to speak. I'd like to comment.
Go ahead, Dr. Wilson.
Yeah. As though you want to come forward to, we had NLRP take a look at this for us the last week. And the book is very specific, like Commissioner Jackson was saying. Either you qualify or you don't.
Right.
We looked at the whole parish, and we were looking at the GM plant, and what we ended up doing was looking at the Ward 2 Industrial Park up north.
Is it in there?
Yes, and the North Shreveport Industrial Park.
So do we need to add them?
Yes.
Okay.
So Ms. L, you want to come any further on that?
Yeah, as a strategy, when we learned about it, LED had not contacted us, so we were trying to be proactive and contact them. And based on the parameters that were identified, first of all, there was a very, very, very short time, there was a deadline to get it in. Number two, because there were a limited amount of sites across the state that would be granted, strategically, we thought that if they had made an investment already, they would be more amenable to select a site that the state would have invested. So all of the certified sites, the state has made a reasonable and substantial investment. So we limited ours to the certified sites for those two reasons, because of their prior investment with the state and also with the time constraint that we had. So based on that, 2 sites were submitted. That was Ward 2 and also the Greenwood Road I-20 site. in West Shreveport.
And North Street, Shirley Francis Industrial Park.
Right,
Was
right.
also put in.
Were
So-
those on the list then?
Yes, sir, we submitted.
No.
Yeah, they,
Do we
and
need
this
to add
was
them to
weeks
this list?
ago. I
Yeah,
mean, based,
are they on Commissioner
We
Jackson?
will.
Yeah, add them to this list, that's fine. If you had a census tract to that.
Right.
I think it's still on the floor, so can we have a map Thursday?
Yeah, I don't know if you can print that map out, Commissioner Milton. It's very, I mean, it's difficult to get to. And the only reason we were able to look at it because someone else gave us access, because we don't have typical access to it.
So you did have access to it?
No, through someone else. We were standing next to their computer while they got
Well,
into
can
it.
NLCOG help us get that anyway?
No, well, I don't know if they qualify, but we'll find out.
Yeah,
I just
well-
want you to be aware that it's difficult to get. We'll try our best to get it, but I can't.
Is there any way, is there any way Commissioner Middleton can meet with somebody up in,
Well,
the 8th floor that could show him these maps or show it?
Well, we didn't see it on the 8th floor. We were able to see it downstairs on the 2nd floor because the person had access to the database and we didn't.
and within NLEP,
You have access to-
Ms. Pierre does all the research for
Okay.
NLEP. So she took the lead on doing the research to look at the sites that fell within those identified zones.
It'd be easier to see on a map.
Yeah.
That's all I'm asking.
I
Somebody's
understand.
got a map,
And
everything's
you,
mapped.
yes, sir.
Yeah.
Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah, if it's possible, can we
I'm
get
not trying to be
one?
hard, I just like to see the map.
I will say GM did come up several times. It's not in the zone.
Right.
So it's based on the map, it's not in this.
Is there anything in District 8 that has to do with the port that's in the zone?
The port
We asked that question and we didn't
cannot,
qualify.
is not in the zone. I don't know if it's not in the zone. It didn't fit the criteria.
I relinquish the floor as long as we get a map for Thursday of some type, please.
We're gonna get a map. We're gonna get you a map, okay? Let's go. Dr. Wilson, are you through?
Coloring books.
What?
Are you through?
Yes, I'm done.
Okay, I want you to bring him a coloring book and just draw him a map if you have to. Okay.
They all gonna get that.
Yeah, that's good. No, thanks.
Okay, yeah.
I appreciate it.
All right. So, once again, those ones that you talked about will be added to Commissioner Jackson's by Thursday. I think he's okay with that. Ms. Frazier?
This is what, commissioners, what needs to happen is, if you all are gonna move this forward, somebody needs to amend the resolution with whatever tracks need to be inserted on Thursday. If you all know what you wanna recommend as additions, let us know and we can draft your amendment for you.
I'll make a
so it's
motion.
easier to read.
I'll make a motion that the tracks be amended to include, I can't remember which ones it are.
See that, my suggestion would be to move it forward now and make your amendments when you have your
Okay.
numbers on paper.
So we can
in
do it
front of
Thursday?
you. Yes.
Okay, let's move it forward. Commissioner Lynn?
I just want to commend Commissioner Jackson for taking the initiative to doing this on his own with all the staff that we have. I'm really impressed that he was able to put this together on his commission time.
Can you get Commissioner Middleton a map?
Well, also, and then also, I've been sitting, yes, I can. I mean, I've been sitting here, and all you have to do is punch in census, go into Google, and you punch in census tract 234 Caddo Parish, and the map pops up right there in front of you. And so the maps are easily available to all of us. A long time ago, I guess this was under President Clinton with the enterprise zones, and Louisiana did this, but they ruled that all historic neighborhoods, which Highland fell underneath this, you were able to get enterprise zone tax incentive, but it pretty much took having a CPA on your staff to get this money back, this tax money back. But a large corporation, and definitely since University Health or Ochsner's or LSU Medical Center fall in that neighborhood financial zone, to get that, they would definitely, this would definitely serve them as well as North Caddo. So anyway, this is all great, and I didn't realize that this had come back into play. So thank you. That's all.
Commissioner Atkins?
Well, I'd like to commend Commissioner Jackson for submitting this resolution as well, but I'd also like to point out, in defense of the staff, they've also been working on a list. So, I just wanted you all to know the staff was not sitting idly by. So Commissioner Jackson's resolution will augment that list, but there is an opportunity here to merge these two lists and to prioritize the list. Thank you.
All things work together.
Commissioner Bowman, you got something?
That was it.
Okay. All right, please vote.
That's biblical.
I found some in District 8, so I'm good.
I think Commissioner Middleton's gonna have to, talk to Dora the Explorer to find the map.
No. That's all right, let me clarify that. No, I've been looking at all these maps, and finally I found something that's in District 8. Thank you, Commissioner Jackson.
All right. Ms. Nations, moving on, I think we're on Resolution 16, is that right? Okay, go ahead.
Authorize resolution number 16 of 2018 to recognize and support AmeriCorps and Senior Corps participants in National Service Day
So
on April
moved.
3rd.
Moved by Commissioner Bowman, second by Commissioner Stormy Gage Watts. I see no one on the board. Please vote to move this to Thursday.
Oh, Halloween? Yeah. Okay. No, I'm saying.
And that passes 12-0. Next item.
Authorize resolution number 17 of 2018 to amend the Caddo Parish Commission bylaws regarding board appointments.
So moved.
Second.
Have a motion by Commissioner Chavez, seconded by Commissioner Lynn to move this Thursday. Sure.
All right. Real quick, guys, this one's pretty simple, very bipartisan. We'll all be gone in 10 years, and the decisions that we make now, I think, are going to affect the city and the parish for many, many decades to come. And I think at least being prudent to request a resume and 2 letters of recommendation from whoever that we put on a board is not too much to ask. From a business standpoint, you would want that from any employee. So I think for good government transparency, we should do that as well around this board. We've had a couple board nominations come up recently where people didn't submit any resumes, and we just press buttons. And it doesn't matter if they're Democrat or Republican. I just think the best practice is that we need to see who wants to be on the board, have them write out why they'd like to be on the board, why they think they're the best candidate for the board, and at least have 2 letters of recommendation. If they can't find 2 people that support them doing that, then obviously we don't need to support them either. This one's very easy, but I yield the floor to you guys. That's all, President.
Commissioner Lyndon Johnson.
I'll make it a little muddier. On the recent MPC appointment, both candidates put in resumes. One person had a bachelor's degree, an MBA, a JD, was a real estate agent, broker, and also was a real estate manager. Highly qualified, overqualified for MPC, but yet we went with somebody who, one person saying, well, that person is already on the board and they just need to continue to be on the board. So it wasn't even a look at the resumes. It was just that person needed to continue to be on the board. And so, I mean, just by giving us a copy of their resumes, this opens them up for all kind of stuff, like public records and everything else. But if we actually really looked at them and voted that way, I would go along with this. But basically, we look at stuff when we do get resumes and vote how you want to vote. So I don't think we actually gonna practice this, but it's nice to put it on there, but we don't practice it. Thank you.
Okay, I'm on the board. I move this go to Personnel and Policy and Procedures Committee.
Second.
I second.
Okay. And the reason I say this is, maybe we can do this, and I think Commissioner Johnson is somewhat right, but this is the big issue here. Of course, I don't want to have to talk about this for 30 minutes, but when you have someone that's from Pine Hill Waterworks District that Lyndon Johnson knows needs to be appointed, or someone in my fire district that I want to be appointed, and I know that they want to be appointed or they may be reappointed. I'll be honest with you, sometimes it is hard to get these guys. Man, I got to do a resume. You know me, Doug, all my life, and I've got to go get 2 people. I mean, if we want to do something like this for an appointment that's going to be parish-wide, but I think that our individual board appointments, we shouldn't do that. Am I right, Lenny? I mean,
we've been doing that for a parish-wide position, that we ask for a resume and all that, not the 2 letters of reference, but we have been getting resumes for that. For the district boards, it's basically based on they talking to their commissioner.
Yeah, I just don't think we
and
need to get into that.
they
So
get appointed.
what I'd like to do is just move this to committee and then let's let this thing hash out where it needs to be, because that's kind of what we do. Otherwise, we're going to spend 30 or 40 minutes here talking about this. So
No, they ain't on that one yet. That was next.
okay, so we got a substitute motion on the floor to move this to committee. Still have Commissioner Bowman on the board
That's okay. I
and
reserve.
Commissioner Lewis Johnson.
Thank you, Mr. President. I was going to make the same suggestion, and also if we are to make some changes as relates to it, I think it should come from the input of the entire, all of the commissioners, as opposed to it already being predetermined what those changes would be. Though I understand the spirit and the intent and the content of what's suggested, but I think it would be better if it came through with input from everyone, as opposed to a single commissioner in that respect. But I would have suggested that it came to the policy and procedures as well. Thank you.
And Commissioner Cawthorn?
Oh, no, I moved my name.
Okay, so let's please vote for the substitute motion to send this to Personnel and Policy and Procedures Committee. Please vote. And that passes 9-1. Ms. Nations, next item.
Authorize resolution number 18 of 2018 to require each NGO receiving funds from the Caddo Parish Commission to adopt 1 mile of Caddo Parish Road.
So moved.
Okay, I got a motion by Commissioner Chavez.
Second.
And seconded by Commissioner John Atkins. Linda Johnson's on the board and myself. Commissioner Johnson?
Yes, I would like to send this to the NGO sub.
Second, and that's what I was going to make. Yeah, go ahead if you want to speak on it.
Thanks, guys. Really quick, our city's filthy. I mean, our parish is filthy. How are we as a board going to help clean it up? I mean, aside from getting out there and doing it ourselves, but obviously we can't do that with as much litters out there. So if we have NGO entities that we're helping, they can return the favor and help us out. I know, for instance, people that are watching this right now, Dave at the EAP, I want to see this road adopted by the EAP, and when I drive by there, I want to see Dave and Jim out there picking up trash, and I'll get up there and help them. So I think it would be nice, even if it's a small NGO getting $5,000 or someone getting $250,000. We need some help cleaning up our city, and if we're helping these entities should be able to help us out as well. So that's all, guys.
Stormy, I'll let you go ahead and talk. Commissioner Stormy Gage, why don't you pressing your button, it's not popping up.
Yes, I think it's back up now. Okay, thank you. I do agree that we do need to clean up Caddo Parish. It should be more cleaner. We all have to be participants in that. However, I disagree, and I think we talked about this in committee, and I think it failed in committee, but it should go back to committee and be vetted, because this is a broad conversation. And when we say that, we have some NGOs who receive $500. And you got some that receive $500,000, and I don't believe that those who are receiving $500,000 are going to get out there and adopt the road and be picking up trash.
Give them for 10 miles.
But I mean, so how do you do that as well? So that'll be another part, that we will have to discuss. With that being said, we cannot appropriate funds for them and then expect for them to give us something back in return, because then we're paying them, and that will be illegal for what we're doing with those appropriations. So I think we need to send this back to committee and make sure that it's vetted properly before it gets back here to the floor.
Yeah, I was on the board, so I'll speak. I agree with Commissioner Stormy Gage Watson, Lyndon Johnson. We talked about this, man, it's been about a year ago, but you make a good point. If someone's getting $500,000, well, why, if you're going to do this, why shouldn't they adopt the 5 mile version of the person who's getting $500? Maybe they should do quarter mile. So I don't know if this is even something that we should do, but I am open to discussing it, and I think for a matter of time and purposes that this would be better to go to the NGO committee. So I would ask that this be moved on. Commissioner Chavez, you're back on the board for the second time.
Thanks, President. I'm all for it going to committee, and I know the question is the amount of money. I don't really think that matters. If we have an after-school tutoring program where we're only giving them $10,000, and their goal is to teach etiquette to children, what better way than to get out there and teach them that, hey, this is our city, let's take some pride in it. And likewise, I mean, I'm serious. I really believe that Dave and Jim will get out there, and I'll go help them. I mean, we'll all go help if that's in our district. You know, Mother Teresa said, the good you do today will often be forgotten, but do good anyway.
That's
So
right.
that's what we should push on. That's it, guys.
Okay, remember, let's try not to keep this going too long. Let's get this to committee. Commissioner Jackson?
Yes, I was just gonna, I think I've said it several times as this conversation comes up, and to kind of help navigate us all in the direction that Commissioner Chavez wants to go, but also being sensitive to the concerns of everyone else, including myself, because I don't see some of the folks who receive some of my NGO funding. I mean, that's a sight to see some of those folks out there picking up trash on the side of the road, or whoever they would designate to do it. But there's a program called the Neighborhood Investment Program at the City of Shreveport, where it's required to have a physical improvement as a part of their funding requirement. If that's the route we're going to go, I think we need to look at the Neighborhood Improvement Program and sort of adopt something similar to it. That way it's a standard across the board. There are different levels. Some folks get $5,000, some people get $100,000, but it's a metrics by which you can even the playing field and no one is being sort of taken advantage of or being weeded out or anything like that. Because I think that's one of the concerns, at least that I have, is we may be trying to weed folks out of this program. And I don't know did I overlook it? Will there be a punishment if a person didn't clean their road, or what if, because I still have this theory that the people in Bossier wake up at night and come dump trash in Shreveport. Y'all don't think so? But
that's the best thing you said in a long, long time.
Hey, Steve, we got a student from Bossier right here. That's job shadowing.
I'm sorry.
So they don't do
But
that.
I don't know. But what happens if somebody is arbitrary? Because we do have places where people dump stuff at. So what would happen if that happens, sort of kind of thing? So if we could clear that up, that would help. But the Neighborhood Investment Program would be where I think we ought to look at for some guidance.
Yeah, you can bring that up in the committee. Commissioner Johnson, I think you've already spoken. Commissioner Middleton?
Yeah, real simple. There's 900 miles in Caddo Parish. We spend over $900,000 on NGOs this year that's been approved. That's about $1,000 per mile. So when you come to apply this year, how many thousands of miles you want to, how many miles you want to apply for? You want $10,000? Which 10 miles of road you want to clean up? Support you there.
Again, we need to send this, again, ladies and gentlemen, we do need to send this to committee. Please vote to move this Thursday to the committee, and I'm sure our Donna Frazier will indicate there's some legality about us, whether or not we can make people on the City of Shreveport roads or the Parish Commission roads. So please vote.
I'm still on the board. He said you already spoke.
Please send this to committee, but I'll let you speak. Commissioner Lyndon Johnson.
I did that, but I want to also say that some of these organizations already signed their corporate forever agreement. So how you gonna go back and tell them to do this when it's already been signed? That's the first thing. Second thing is you talk about the parish road. So you have an organization inside the city limits. You're gonna now tell them to go outside the city limits to go clean up a parish road. Sure. Ain't gonna happen. They can clean up in their neighborhood and they'll probably agree to that, but they're not gonna go outside the city limits to go clean up something where they don't stay, they don't have, you probably don't even go out that way. So you gonna make them clean up something like that? That's crazy. So let's send it to a committee. Let's send it to a committee and discuss it the right way.
You're the chairman. Make that decision.
Okay. Donna, do you really need to talk, or can you wait till the committee?
I can wait.
Please vote.
Put it on ice. A turkey break. Ice.
What are we voting on?
Good call. Pettiness.
We're voting to send this to the committee.
We're voting on pettiness.
Yeah, he's okay with it.
And the people that can keep it up.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we're not gonna again.
Around the horseshoe.
I got an open mind. Come on,
I
man.
am Commissioner
12-0. I'm just messing with you. All right, 12-0. That goes to committee. Michelle, you back with us?
I am. Authorize resolution number 19 of 2018, opposing pre-filed House
Move
Bill
third.
1.
Second.
Okay, this is a motion made by Commissioner Lyndon Johnson, seconded by Commissioner Stormy Gage Watts. I'm gonna let you, can you please explain this a little bit? I know I spoke to Commissioner Cawthorn about this, but I don't see a resolution attached, or I didn't, and my computer's not working, so.
Okay, basically what it is it's a House bill that's been filed 190, And so.
Who's filed that?
Carmody.
Carmody.
Okay.
And so basically our district attorney, he has a diversion program going. And so he wants to oppose pre-filing of that particular House bill and wants our support in lieu of that.
What's the House bill say?
Reduce the fund.
Basically putting more people in jail and not doing the diversion program.
Lyndon, Matt, doesn't it distribute it more broadly across a bunch of different services?
Well, it basically eliminates the services and incarcerates more people. I mean, we're already leading the parish in
the nation
in incarceration.
In the world.
So the DA has come up with these diversion programs to try to keep the people who are not
nonviolent.
Yeah, not the violent criminals, but the nonviolent criminals, giving them another program that they can go in and do something to reform themselves. And so this House bill basically wants to cut the funding and cut those kind of programs out and basically now force more incarceration.
And is it just a local bill? That's what I've heard, but I just hadn't been able to pull it up. So.
Yeah. It's Caddo.
Just us.
Can we make sure that we get it? I don't know if it was.
It's
right
actually
there.
attached to your agenda.
Okay, my computer is not.
It's down.
Is down. It's not. So I couldn't see it. And then when I looked at it like Thursday or Friday, it wasn't attached. Okay, go ahead.
Basically, as the diversion programs work now across the state, the district attorney's offices have the authority to run one. They charge a fee and they keep the proceeds to run the diversion program and to run their victims assistance program. What this bill would do only in Caddo and Bossier parishes is have the fees collected by the sheriff and distributed the way court costs are distributed in court proceedings to all of the different agencies as opposed to just the district attorney's office.
I'm sorry. Can you come say that last line?
It would have the participant in a diversion program, instead of paying it to the DA, it would be paid to the sheriff. The proceeds would go 28% to the criminal court fund, 18% to the office of the public defender, 12% to the office of the district attorney, 12% to the criminalistics laboratory, which performs the majority of crime lab services for the district, 8% to the sheriff's general fund, 8% to the jury and witness fee fund, 5% to the clerk of court, 4% to the juvenile detention fund, 4% to the judicial expense fund, 1% to the state treasury to be deposited into the traumatic head and spinal cord injury fund.
Thank you. Commissioner Chavez?
Thank you, President. I know typically we don't go the other way as far as telling the state what to do on all these urges and whatnot. This one, I'm kind of confused. Why is it just, now it seems like the state is telling the parish, but only in Caddo and Bossier. Why are these two parishes singled out?
Being that it's a local bill, I would assume that there was someone who requested it locally. And this
I think he's meaning that we're toward the subdivision.
we went down lobby. This was on
We're political
one night.
subdivision, so they can tell us.
I mean, well, yeah, somebody requested this of
State representative.
Representative Carmody to push this bill to only apply in these two parishes.
Is this gonna cost us, the commission, or the taxpayers in the parish, any money?
It could.
Yeah, that was about
Because it has the potential to affect the district attorney's office bottom line for their operation fees. So I would imagine that he's going to look to the commission to replace the funds that he's going to lose.
And legally, we have to replace those funds.
The jury is still out on that, but
Which jury?
The one that'll be forthcoming.
In the past, we've had to do that.
Okay.
He'll be here Thursday, someone from his office. So
Oh, okay. All right. I yield the floor, President. Thank you, Donna.
Okay, we got several of us guys that are on the agenda, so, I think that we probably need to move this to Thursday, hear more about it, so that
Someone
I guess
will be
that
from the
either
office here Thursday.
Judge Stewart or the first
DA or
assistant or
one
somebody.
is
Okay, because I
ADA.
think it's gonna be boiled down to how does this affect us? Lynn and I talked about it, and that's my concern is, if he loses money, is he gonna be knocking on our door and saying, well, I need money for this?
He will.
Oh, yeah, he will.
He will be.
Okay. I'm sure some of the juvenile will be happy with 4% going over there. All right, Donna, do you need anything else? You're on the board?
No, that was, I think, actually from the last time.
Okay, and you through?
Is Carmody gonna come speak?
No.
I believe someone from the district.
Yeah, he's in session right now, so he's not going to be available to speak.
Okay.
And it's gonna ultimately be up to them, but Commissioner Jackson, are you on the board?
Yes. I'd like to make a motion to add the chairman of the House Judiciary Committee to receive this as well, or the House Judiciary Committee to receive a copy as well, just a friendly amendment. Will you accept that?
Yes.
Okay.
And then, so you do accept that amendment?
Yes.
Chairman?
Friendly amendment?
Yeah, House Judiciary Committee. And also, Attorney Fraser, you said that the DA, this basically takes money out of diversion, so the opposite of diversion is incarceration, correct?
They would have to be adjudicated. There are going to be some that may end up in jail. There's going to be some who end up convicted and paying fines, because most of the beneficiaries of the diversion programs are misdemeanors.
Misdemeanor, okay.
Except for in like felony theft or hot check cases.
They come, and so the more people in jail, we pick up that.
Yes, program.
That would be an expense that one you definitely require to pick up.
Okay, so that would be enough. Okay, thank you.
Is it in Caddo only or Caddo and Bossier?
That would be in both parishes. I mean, because
House Bill 190 affects Caddo and Bossier.
Bossier.
So do we know what Bossier Parish Police Jury is saying, or?
The DA's against it.
Do what?
DA Scholar is against his opposition as well.
I'm sure he is. Commissioner Cawthorn?
Oh, no, my question been answered. Now, who would have to pick up that void in the diversion program if the deal passes? So she answered that.
Okay, let's please vote to move this to Thursday. And that passes 12-0. Next item.
Authorize resolution number 20 of 2018, a resolution authorizing the parish administrator to retain special legal counsel and otherwise providing with respect
So
thereto.
moved.
I have a motion by Commissioner Chavez, seconded by the chair. Do we have the ones that listed?
Well, actually, one pulled out, so we only have one left.
Okay, all right.
So that's the decision. And this came out of committee. It wasn't voted on in committee because in the essence of time, we're going to put it on the agenda. Since the one pulled out, really nothing to vote on from committee.
Okay.
But to get us on the docket so that we can get this moving forward, we're putting
Because we're in time sensitive.
Exactly.
Okay. Commissioner Lindy Johnson?
Yes, here again, the one that did pull out for a reason. There was two parts to it. One part kind of felt that he was badgered by some of the commissioners, and some of the questions that he was asked felt like he was out of place.
Excuse me, Lynn, are you talking about attorneys that, who pulled out of what? What are you talking about here?
Well, we're talking about this legal counsel piece.
Yeah, so
it
there
was
were
two-
multiple, I wasn't in that committee meeting, so.
It was two different law firms that was involved. And so one law firm felt that, they was badgered by some of the questions and felt that someone was out of place. So they pretty much pulled out of that. And on the bright side of it, they're representing the state now. So evidently they doing something right. So that's all I got to say about that. And so we're down to one.
Commissioner Atkins?
Well, I was not in the committee, so I'm not familiar with all the issues, but on the surface, I do have some concerns. I know, though, opioids are a big issue, that there is a big issue with opioid addiction. My real question is, though, who's to blame for that? And, is it the opioid manufacturing companies that were pursuing it here?
That's what they're going.
Can you let Donna explain briefly what this would be? Could you do that for us?
Yes, basically, the premise is to file a lawsuit against opioid manufacturers because there's an allegation that they withheld information that would have helped the prescribers make better decisions about who to prescribe opioids for. And that is what their withholding of that information is basically what has led to the epidemic.
They're not suing any local doctors. They're not suing any local manufacturers. It's going to be like national manufacturer, and it would be I guess we can talk about this right now, but it is a time-sensitive matter, and we've had 2 presentations, and the law group that will be recommending, I guess it's because the other one pulled out, seemed to be very, in my opinion, very worthwhile and knowledgeable about the situation. And it just wasn't one law firm, it's several lawyers in, I guess, New Orleans, Baton Rouge area that are specialized in this type of law.
I understand. I still have the floor, I think.
Sure.
So let me
I was just trying to explain that you weren't there.
I appreciate it. And I do recognize that there may be an opportunity here for the parish to gain some financial reward, and perhaps some of that financial reward is necessary to offset the cost of incarceration or whatever issues might be.
Yeah.
But I do have my concerns about the real driver of this national opioid litigation, and is it driven by the agenda of certain plaintiffs' attorneys and the money associated with putting together a huge national case like this that'll be on the order of the tobacco settlement type of situation. So I just wanted to voice my concerns about that. So I understand the issues, but I felt that we need to be sure we think about both sides of the issue here.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Lewis Johnson.
Thank you, Mr. President. I was not privy to the information either, and so I was going to refer to legal as relates to what your position is on it. Just out of curiosity, as I support it, I want to know what is your position on it.
Commissioner, basically at this point, it's not going to cost the parish anything, and there could be some realization of a financial gain. One thing that was important is that the group will have forensic experts to come in and look at the cost to see what the parish has expended to kind of decide what the parish can recover. So there's not going to be some just wide net cast to get in everything you can get in. The recovery will be related to the actual cost. So I don't see a downside.
Thank you very much. I appreciate
You're
you.
welcome.
It's obviously not going to cost us anything for these experts. Commissioner Stormy Gage Watts.
Call for the question.
Second.
I got a motion by Commissioner Stormy Gage Watts, seconded by Lyndon Johnson to call for the question. Please vote. Calling for the question. Please vote. That passes 11-1. Okay. Now we'll vote to move this to Thursday.
That's impressive. John, that's your first lone vote. I'm proud of you.
Come on, I think I've been alone.
All right, that passes 12-0, and we'll move to our next item.
Authorize the clerk of the commission to expend funds for parliamentarian procedure training from the commission clerk's office fund.
So moved.
Okay, that's moved by Commissioner Chavez, seconded by Commissioner Lynn.
I'll make a motion real quick.
You have any, Commissioner Johnson?
We'll make a substitute motion.
Okay. Sure, Linda, Commissioner Chavez wants to.
Sorry, we had to do this just because we couldn't expend the funds without putting it on the agenda. The reason I wanted to do this is after I took the parliamentarian class, there's a lot of things that I don't think that we do. I don't want to say we don't do it the wrong way, but there's some things that we need some training on. We need an expert to come in. For instance, when we second items, you don't actually have to speak on your second. The second doesn't necessarily mean that you agree with the person that made the motion. It just means that you're willing to bring the topic to the floor to allow the boards to talk about it.
That's right.
And there's things like that where I think, as a board, as a more efficient government, it would be nice to have an expert opinion come in and give us a class and just spend 3 hours one day learning how to run a more effective meeting. So I think this is good. That's all, President.
Commissioner Johnson?
I'd like to make a substitute motion that we utilize our in-house attorneys to do the training if this training is needed.
They got enough stuff on.
Motion by Commissioner Lyndon Johnson. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, I got a second by Stormy Gage Watts. With substitute motion to allow the training to be due by our in-house attorneys.
Do I need to speak on that?
If you want to speak on it, go
Try to
ahead.
clarify that for some people. Basically, we're looking at sparing a cost of bringing some person in, and we got 2 capable attorneys here that know Robert rules of order. I mean, it's basically just overlooking them, and we rely upon them for legal advice. And Robert rules of order, I mean, that's part of becoming an attorney, is knowing how to do that. And so, I mean, to say bring in somebody from the outside, which is a cost, y'all always talking about taxpayers' dollars. This way we can actually get this done without using taxpayers' dollars. That's a phrase I get so tired of hearing. And at the same time now, you want to use taxpayers' dollars to do this training. Well, we got 2 capable people in-house to do it. That's all I got to say.
Okay, well said. Commissioner Bowman?
Is it, it just seems like are you able to do it? Have we even consulted with you to even do this? Amongst the myriad of things that you have to do?
Commissioner Bowman, whatever you all ask us to do, we're going to do our best to deliver on it.
Okay, but we didn't ask you.
No.
Okay.
Commissioner Lynn?
The last time someone was brought in to conduct a class and it was available to everybody, I attended the class and our parish attorneys attended the class. And so it's something that's a refresher for everybody. It's not, I think that we could all learn, including the parish attorneys could learn something new. You can always sharpen your pencil. That's all.
And I agree with Commissioner Lynn. I think that, what was the word I was saying? Nothing wrong with, nothing against Donna, but she's got a lot going on. This person that we're supposed to be bringing in is an expert that focuses on this. So, I was impressed by what the classes you took and the conversations we had of the things you learned and how difficult it was. And you were like, Doug, this is not an easy class. There's a lot of stuff out there. And it kind of hit me on the head that, I'd like to have some more knowledge because, I read Robert's Rules of Order when I have to, but, sometimes you forget and things of that nature. So I'm for this too. So Commissioner Chavez?
Thank you.
Your second time, I'm sorry. Commissioner Jackson?
Do we know what the cost is?
$350.
Say it again?
$350.
No, how much? I think 700 something. How much is it?
It's about $900.
Oh,
That
okay.
includes
3
all the
hours.
commissioners, the commission clerk's office, and administration.
That's everybody?
Okay.
That's it.
Oh, yeah, we're gonna be missing that.
Yeah, and so my other question was, is this a personal benefit or is this a professional benefit?
Is that directed to me?
Anybody?
Oh, I'll answer
No,
that
this
because
is professional. You all use it in this arena. So
Okay.
that's,
Half of y'all wrong on it.
I just
so you
wanted to
need
make
go.
that point that, we do professional development and professional education, as some folks have said that they seem to think that it's a personal benefit when we decide that we want to go somewhere or bring someone in to, as Commissioner Lynn said, sharpen our pencil. And so here's an instance where we're taking a professional development course or looking at doing a professional development course, and hopefully this approach will apply across the board. I want to make sure that, if we can use taxpayers to get education on parliamentary procedures, maybe we need to get
take trips.
I'd like to see a trainer come in or somebody go get some training on economic development, community development, planning, just different things. So I want to make sure that we have a open mind, Commissioner Chavez, and you tend to have an open mind about all of the things that we can get professional development on, since our capable attorney has deemed this as a professional development. I assume, I don't know where we are in the suit, but just, want to point that out. Thank you.
Commissioner Chavez?
Thank you. LBJ, I'm going to vote no on the amendment. Although I feel very capable that Donna can do it, and I wouldn't ask the taxpayers to spend the money if I did it first. I went on my own dime and spent $125, and Dr. Wilson said he thinks I'm the first commissioner that has ever done that since he's been parish administrator to get the parliamentary certificate. And what I did learn, I mean, it was hard. It took me a month to pass that class, and it wasn't easy coming from my Southwood education, but I passed it. And I think there is a lot of benefits that all 12 of us could learn. And we had a thing in the military when I was in the Army that was called Train the Trainer. And it comes to a point where, sure, you've been doing something for so long, but you may have forgotten some key points. So I think it'd be beneficial for all of us, the staff and the commissioners, to have an expert come in here and spend 3 hours and just learn how to run better, efficient meetings. That's all.
Commissioner Johnson?
Okay. I understand the trainer. I am an OSHA certified trainer, so I understand that. Is this person in state?
We ain't saving no money, man. It's $500. Get over it.
Yeah, I think it's Baton Rouge.
Okay, so they are in state. And then did we check with the Louisiana Police Jury Association, because they also do this type of training as well?
You know he didn't.
And we are a member of that association. So
Todd's the one that set it up, so I don't. He's on vacation.
Okay. All right. I just want to make sure we cover all our bases, because we do have people who sit out there and say we waste taxpayers' dollars. Didn't know about, didn't do this and didn't do that. So I want to bring it to everybody's attention that we could do this without paying $900.
Okay, so we have two motions. I have a substitute motion on the board, which is to allow Donna and Henry to do the training, and we'll vote on that first, and we'll go from there. So this is the substitute motion. If you wish for our attorneys to do this, vote yes. If you do not, vote no. Okay? So please vote. Should I have to prepare for all that? Okay, so that fails 4-8. So we're going back to the original motion, Commissioner.
Yeah, mine should have been a green. Should have been 5. It doesn't change.
It still failed.
Don't change, but
Okay.
I still like to see 5 instead of 4.
Okay, Commissioner
you got
Jackson
that?
says he voted yes, so that'd be 5. It fails 5-7.
Yes.
So we're going back to the original motion, Commissioner Chavez's motion to approve the authorization of this. Please vote. That passes 11-1. I moved to Thursday. I just can't figure.
That was a battle not even worth fighting.
Hey, I'm
$500? Really?
Okay, next item.
Authorize appointments to Lakeview Waterworks District, Mr. Lawrence Anderson to replace Ms. Maxine Smith, to fill the unexpired term that will expire March 17, 2019, and Ms. Mary Talent to Lakeview Water District, term to expire March 17, 2022.
Commissioner Lyndon Johnson.
I'd like to make a motion to
Second.
advance this to Thursday, and then Globo, the appointments for Lakeview Waterworks, the appointments for Pine Hill Waterworks, the appointments for Sewer District Number 2, and the appointment for the Animal Service Board.
Okay, I'll second that motion.
Oh, and
Oh.
the Banking and Development Task Force.
Okay.
And
Both of them?
both of them, yeah, both of them.
Okay.
Well,
So we have
one comment on.
okay, hang on one second. I have a motion by Commissioner Lyndon Johnson, seconded by myself, to move, advance, and Globo. Those are
All the appointments.
all the appointments. It's 8 through 8, Roman numeral 23. So does anybody have any questions about that on the board? Commissioner
Let's make a quick-
Jackson?
I'll make a substitute motion to amend and add authorize juvenile judge Paul Young as a visitor, authorize recognition of Woody's Home for Veterans as a visitor, authorize special resolution and recognition of Caddo Coffee and Supplies.
Second.
Well,
Okay, so we have a substitute motion by Commissioner Jackson, and who was it seconded by Commissioner Lynn? To also add in the authorization of Judge Paul Young, authorization of the recognition to Woody's Home for Veterans, and the special resolution of recognition and appreciation of Caddo Coffee. All of those to move to Thursday. So we'll be voting on Commissioner Stephen Jackson's motion to move and in Globo. Does anybody have any discussion on those? Commissioner Lynn?
I do.
Hang on. Commissioner Lynn, you on the board? Okay. Commissioner Chavez?
No, she did. I mean, I'm on the board, but.
You need to talk if you're on the board.
Yeah.
You wanna
Can I
get-
get a friendly amendment to add Jason Siegel on that banking district board? For
for-
business minister.
No, we need a
Making it
resident.
complicated now.
It's not on the agenda.
We need a resident and 2 other recommendations.
Well, I would like that, but.
We've reached
Hang
our
on a
limit, parliamentarian.
Hang on. So, Commissioner Chavez, you have the floor. Do you?
Disregard.
Okay, You're disregarding?
No, we're gonna do it later.
Okay, Stormy Gage Watts?
I just wanted, item number 24, I just wanted to, if anyone wanted to address, Director Clay Walker is here before Judge Paul Young comes as a visitor.
Well, I can
So
take
I
that
don't know if
one
you
off.
want to just eliminate that one from it
Yeah, I
and
take that
just
one off.
englobal the rest of it.
I take that one off my motion.
We're gonna need Judge Young here, though.
Yeah.
Yes.
But I'm gonna take that
just
one
saying,
off.
if you have any questions today for Clay, we can call him up during,
Okay.
before we,
I take that one off.
the item to
Then go
Thursday.
over.
Leave it on.
Yeah, leave it on
Okay.
there.
All right.
Okay, go.
I think we need to ask him then. Okay.
Because it's gonna be
All right.
hot on Thursday, but y'all don't play games.
Please vote.
Where you going? Come back and vote.
I'm gonna vote, but y'all pay it.
That passes 12-0. Next item, Ms. Nations.
Authorized visitors, Miss Kamisha West from representing United Way 211 program as a visitor for Thursday, and authorized Miss Lauren Visa with Miss Louisiana USA as a visitor for Thursday.
Second.
Moved by Commissioner Stormy Gage Watts, second by Chavez to authorize those two visitors. Please vote. Okay, next,
I know we ain't gonna do all this in minutes.
12-0. Next item,
Administrator report.
Dr. Wilson.
He's gone, but I'll take some right now.
You don't have anything?
I do.
Oh my gosh.
Got all this shit.
First, we have Mr. Mark Sweeney, Executive Director for the Shreveport Caddo Metropolitan Planning Commission. Mr. Sweeney, would you come give us an operations update, please?
It's a long list.
I'll make this quick. I know y'all ready to go.
Please.
But, actually, Dr. Wilson had come to me and asked me if I could give you kind of an update on some things that we're doing at the MPC that would be of help to y'all to understand kind of what the lay of the land is. Basically, we have some proactive initiatives that we're undertaking for 2018. The first thing that I think that will be of interest to you is that if you go to our website now, there is a customer satisfaction survey. So if there is an issue that someone has with a particular way something is handled or with an individual on my staff, including myself, they can record that concern and complaint to us, and we will record that and document that for the purposes of learning how to improve our services at the MPC. That's been functional on our website for the last several weeks, and I encourage you to go there to the website, and this is for anyone that wants to do that. The other initiative that we're trying to undertake for 2018 is I kind of want to make you understand that the Unified Development Code has been in effect with the city as of a year as of May the 15th. For you guys, it's been in effect for about 4 months. One of the things we wanted to do was do an outreach educational effort to the developers, design professionals, as well as citizens of both Caddo Parish and the city of Shreveport, to allow them to kind of understand the components of the UDC. It's kind of like another educational effort to help people understand how the process works and to ask questions and to figure out what ways we can improve that process as part of that feedback. That initiative will be starting in the next within the next month or so, and we will begin to target what I call stakeholders and various groups throughout the community to sit down with them and to go over the policies and procedures of the UDC and make it so that it's understandable, to break it down into digestible, understandable components. So after having experienced what the UDC is, it's good to have a refresher course to come back and explain things that maybe people have either misunderstood or didn't realize there was a different pathway. Another thing that we're taking on as an initiative for 2018 is My Government Online. Stephen Jackson attended that initial presentation that I coordinated for the city as well as for the parish, and for the local developers in our community. The idea is that My Government Online is a Louisiana-created software program, web-based software program, that will allow the city, as well as the parish, for any person, whether they're an elected official, a developer, or just the average citizen, to be able to go online and chart the progress of their permit, their building permit, or their application with the MPC, as well as everything related to property standards. It is a very transparent process that is a major cost savings to the city as well as to the parish. And this is a program that we're going to be discussing in greater length. We already have an established meeting set up with the mayor and the CAO on the 26th of March, along with some of the department heads of the city. And we're going to be, again, pushing this out because this is an opportunity to create a more efficient process. It actually will tell you, if you're looking at your project, where the hang-up is. Where is the slowdown? Where is the part of the process where a decision has to be made, or something I need to provide that would speed up the process to get my permit or to get my application approved? The other thing, too, I want to bring you to your attention is that we have the City Council, as of last week, completed their process of having already approved about 79 amendments to the city UDC. Those same amendments are waiting for y'all to be for your consideration. And it right now is under review by your legal staff. Now, 79 amendments sounds like a lot, but you've got to understand when you're talking about a document that has a lot of cross sections to it, it's mostly cleanups and corrections to the document. But within those 79 amendments are some of the most important changes that will create not only a more business-friendly and a speedier process for review and approval that the development community has been talking to us about over the last several months. And so I wanted to just make an emphasis on the fact that over the next couple of months, you'll be seeing a series of amendments. Now, some of those may go to your long-range committee for analysis and review, because a lot of times y'all like to do that. But I want you to understand that those are waiting in the wings for the parish. The city just approved theirs last week, and theirs will be on the books within the next 10 days. I'd like to do the same thing for you guys so that we can offer those same opportunities to the developers in the parish as we have with the city. And at that time, that's all of my report. If you have any questions, I'm more than willing to answer those.
Hang on, Commissioner Sweeney.
Mm-hmm. Commissioner Sweeney.
I was trying to say that.
I don't know how I ran for office.
I was trying to say that you said you were short and sweet, and I was going to say you give Commissioner Jackson a run for his money. You got a little bit sidetracked.
Thank you.
And speaking of that, Commissioner Jackson, you're on the board.
Just making sure the printer gets his money worth, that's all.
And they do.
Customer service satisfaction. Let me say, Mark, thank you for coming down, and thank you for your effort that you're trying to make. I always thought an educator's job was hard, but being a planner, I see what y'all do from a perspective of planning. People don't like to be told no. People don't like to be told you can't do this. People don't like when it's there, especially when it's their property. Right. I would encourage you all to, when folks come with their ideas, I don't think we should be dream killers, but we should also try to fix things in a way that shows them how to get things done. And so I hear the conversation that's going on about the MPC being so, and I think that's what prompted you coming down today.
Absolutely.
I saw the email traffic going back and forth about the customer service. I've sat in meetings before where folks are talking and the planner in the room says, well, you can't do that according to the UDC or
Right.
according to the zoning. And in a person's mind, when they're dealing with their property, it immediately becomes sort of us versus them, or me versus
Right.
you, or you're telling me what I can't do.
Right.
And so if there was a way to respond that's not so, dream killing or
Exactly.
spirit dousing,
Right.
I think that will help. And so I see your efforts in what you're trying to do. We have to do more education as it relates to planning. A lot of folks remember Houston going underwater last year. but Houston didn't have a planning department.
Right.
And when you see stuff like that, part of Houston's problem was they did not have sufficient zoning and planning. Wherever they wanted to build something, they just built it. There was no permitting process required. And so I think there has to be some give and take, some patience on both sides, and just some understanding and massaging of the message. And I believe y'all are going to do that. And so I appreciate you. I think that I thought it was My Permits now.
It is My Permit now, but the whole package is called My Government Online.
Okay, and if we can have a discussion, I don't
Yes.
know how, I know y'all are doing that free of charge.
Yes.
To the parish and city, but I've been talking about open BR since I've been elected. Maybe if we can include other open information on there, I'm not
Right.
sure. But if we can have that conversation sooner or later, but it's gonna be an opportunity where we can go in and have sort of live, real-time data at our fingertips with regard to police response, property standards violations, and just different issues that are gonna be addressed. And I would encourage you to get with the Long Range Planning Committee
Sure.
as opposed to coming here to do
Absolutely.
that. Maybe we can do just a little workshop with the Long Range Planning Committee. And also, while I have you here, just want to say thank you and Alan Clark for addressing the milk truck or whatever that was on I-20.
Absolutely.
I got the email. I think it took us, 6 months, and now it's finally gone. So
Right.
that little horrendous thing is no longer greeting folks as they pass through Shreveport on their way to their final destination.
You
so
bet.
thank you, and keep up the effort. These particular jobs are not without criticism. At some point, you'll find you're gonna make somebody mad.
Yes.
And you just got to keep going forward with what you're doing. So I appreciate you and your effort, and appreciate all y'all do.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Commissioner Atkins.
Thank you, Mr. Sweeney. I think Commissioner Jackson summed it up very well there. I know you've got a lot of challenges in front of you, but I would be remiss if I didn't encourage you to continue to work on our business-friendly,
Sure.
customer service-oriented approach, and look for ways to get people to yes instead of perhaps pointing out reasons why it'd be no. The feedback I get is that when you go to Bossier, this is just all I don't know it personally, but they
Yes.
say when you go to Bossier, they're like, what can we do to make
Right.
to help you build that thing here? And when you go to Caddo, it's not nearly as user-friendly and customer-oriented. So I encourage you to continue to push towards greater customer service and user-friendliness. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Commissioner Chavez.
Thank you, President. Mark, thanks for coming down, and thank you for doing the button on the website for complaints. We all know there's a lot of people in the community that have them. Commissioner Jackson, I like that idea. I was actually going to ask you, Mr. Sweeney, the chamber had a big event last week, and they had a lot of gripes. Would you be willing, if I set up a long-range planning meeting here in the future, that I can invite them and Tim Magner can come down and we can get all these questions addressed? Would you be available for that?
We're always open for a dialogue because I always have the belief that you can always improve things and there's always the ability to improve the process and to make it a better
Thank
process.
you, Mark. I'll reach out and we'll set up a long-range plan and get this done. Thank you, Mark. Again,
You're welcome.
Thanks, President.
Okay, and Commissioner Lynn?
Yes, Mr. Sweeney, thank you for coming by here. Is there a log kept of everybody that enters your office or makes contact with the MPC?
Yes, sir.
Have y'all ever reached out to people that came in that were going to start a business and then you didn't hear back from them? Just a partnership with NLEP to say these were all the people that came in that wanted to start a business and it's been a month and a half and we haven't heard from them. Maybe you can call on them to help figure out why they didn't follow through with their original goals.
I think that's a good idea, Commissioner Lynn. I think that we often have a back and forth conversation. It's usually an ongoing conversation over a period of time, and we'll get back with applicants and talk to them about where they're going and what their intentions are. Sometimes it's just a matter of the fact that they decide, okay, we're just not going to do this because we can't put the money together, we can't put the project together in such a way that we can deliver on it. But I think that your suggestion of maybe doing some type of a partnership effort with the NLP that would be able to reach out and say, look, these are guys that are interested, these are businesses that would like to figure out a way to make some things happen, would be a good opportunity to build a bridge of communication like that.
All right, thank you. That's all.
Thank you, Mr. Sweeney, for coming. I appreciate your hard work. Continue everything, okay?
Thank you, sir.
All right, Mr. Lucky, you're back on the board.
Thank you. Next, I would like to bring up Mr. Henry Wesley, our Director of Parks. Parks and Rec has just gotten an outstanding, and I do mean outstanding, recognition, and I want to let Henry and his team come up so they can explain to you what it was that they received. This is pretty awesome.
Good afternoon. It is my honor and my privilege to introduce to you all two of our fine staff members with Caddo Parish Parks and Recreation, and they're going to speak on a great award we just received. Ms. Stacy Gray, our Education Coordinator, and Mr. Rusty Scarborough, our Senior Naturalist.
Is that going to come? Oh, perfect. Okay. Hi, thanks for having me today. I'm Stacy Gray. I serve as the Education Coordinator for the Parks Department. I was asked to talk a little bit about the work that we're doing in the Parks Department and some recognition that we've received recently. So we host an annual event every April at Walter B. Jacobs Memorial Nature Park called Fairy Houses and Gnome Homes. We've done it for about 3 years now. Visitors are invited to build structures from natural materials that we have gathered out of the forest, and then visit several exhibits and activities throughout the forest to learn more about the natural world. So recently we were honored to receive an award from the National Association for Interpretation, the South Central Region 6. We received the 2017 Outstanding Special Event Award. So our 6-state region includes Texas, Oklahoma, Kansas, Louisiana, Arkansas, and Missouri. And there's about 750 professional members just in our region alone, not including national. If the word interpretation sounds strange in this context, I wanted to explain a little bit about what the National Association for Interpretation is. So when you hear the word interpretation, most people think like translating like a language, and we're using it similar to that, but what it means here is that we're translating meaning. Meaning about what makes a place or a site or a resource special. Interpreters are the people who create stories and activities and opportunities for you to connect with the place or site or resource. So NAI, the places like parks, museums, zoos, historic sites. I already said that. Okay. National Association for Interpretation is our professional organization then, where interpreters learn from each other. All right, so our mission at Walter B. Jacobs Memorial Nature Park, in short, is to connect people of Northwest Louisiana, citizens of Northwest Louisiana, to our forest. And this program does exactly that. Like I said, we've done it for 3 years. The first year we did it, it was a very small. We attracted about 40 people to it. And we just started with the one component where we gather materials out of the forest. We invite people to either use a hot glue gun or to build in the forest. And they create little structures using bark and wood, flowers, vines, mushrooms, anything we can gather out of the woods. And they use their imagination and they build. And that part is incredibly popular. Everybody loves to build with these materials. The second year we did it, we added a few activities to it and got about 250 people. Last year, word of mouth got out, and we had about 500 visitors come to the nature park in 2017 to enjoy this event. Some of the other activities that people can do there, this is one of the things we added the second year. We came up with the idea of doing the Four Seasons Fairies. So these are some of our lovely volunteers that are part of our volunteer corps for Walter B. Jacobs, and they each took a season and they had a live animal. They talked about how their animal related to that season. The spring fairy talked about insects, and we let people catch butterflies and other insects in the meadows and learn about some of our native insects that we have here. Let's see. Some of the other activities that we did were really fun. Is we had a gnome and Mrs. Shroom talk about fungus in the forest. We had the teeth fairy, which is the animal's teeth fairy. That's Miss Julia, one of our park naturalists on staff at Walter Jacobs Nature Park. We partnered with Shreve Memorial Library. Their librarians come and did a story time. And then there's crafts and a few other activities too. But we do have the 4th annual Fairy Houses and Gnome Homes planned for April 7th of 2018. We invite the public to come by anytime between 11 and 4. All the activities go on throughout the day, and we refresh all the materials too, so there's plenty for whenever somebody shows up. And we've got a few extra things planned this year. We're partnering with Go Bubbles, a local business who's going to come out and make those gigantic bubbles in the forest. It's a really fun event, and we were really honored to be recognized by our professional organization for the work that we did with this to help the citizens here really have a special day in the forest that really helped them appreciate and understand why saving places like that and visiting places like a forest here in Northwest Louisiana is important. But I did want to say thank you to our administration and our commissioners for supporting us in our ability to do this kind of work and create these kind of events for the citizens here in Northwest Louisiana.
I just have had the great opportunity to have people like Stacy and the rest of my staff apply when I had positions open, and I have a magnificent team that put together a lot of creative, engaging events, and this is just one example. But people around the country and around the region for sure are taking note. NAI Region 6 is one of the most prestigious and awarded regions in the country, and for this group to recognize us here in Caddo Parish was really a great honor. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hang on, hold guys, hang on. I just wanted to say thank y'all. You know, it's a little bit unique for what you do, this fairying gnomes, but I love how the stuff that y'all do is on Facebook. Crystal, where's Crystal?
She just went to another meeting.
This is something that we need to recognize. It needs to be on Facebook for what award that y'all have done. We need to keep promoting the parks. Walter B. Jacobs does a great job. We need to make sure our other parks and things are promoted, especially with social media these days. And, you know, this is what this, election will be about. I mean, if the Park and Recreation Department does not get renewed, the things that will be cut are things like this. It's just not going to happen. Y'all going to probably, your job, So it's extremely important. So I think y'all, you need to bring an eagle. You're the one that handles the eagle, don't you? You need to bring it in here. Could you get it in here? Is it too? We need to look at that and bring it in here. Y'all need to see that eagle. That's out.
Like this Thursday?
Well, I don't know if we could do it this Thursday because we've got a pretty big agenda going up. But I mean, this is a beautiful, beautiful bald eagle. I mean, it's just something a sight to behold. American eagle.
Let's make sure it's not something I'm allergic to first.
Are you allergic to eagles?
I don't know.
No, but she is dogs.
No, I hope it's just dogs. I would love to see it.
Okay, thank y'all so very much.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank y'all very much.
All right, Mr. Lucky.
That concludes our admin report.
Okay, next item is the president's report. I'll keep that in for short term. We'll move that to Thursday and move over to citizens' comments, late arrivals. I don't have anything. Michelle, do you have anything?
Communiques.
Oh, I'm sorry. I jumped over. I marked through it. So let's back up. Communiques and committee reports.
I need to, notice will be given of the Thursday, March 22nd, 2018 regular session of the Caddo Parish Commission's intent to consider adopting a resolution ordering and calling an election to be held in Caddo Parish to authorize the rededication of the sales and use tax in sales tax district number 1 of the parish.
Okay.
Had to be read. Yes.
Thank you. Commissioner Stormy Gage Watts.
Yes, sir, Mr. President. I just had one thing, and I just added it under communiques because we englobe the others.
Yes.
I just wanted to let you know, Commissioners, that Director Clay Walker is here. If you have any preliminary questions that you would like to be addressed today before Thursday when Judge Young comes, if you want to deliver them to him and he get with you later, if you would, Clay, if you would come up. If anyone has any questions for him, he's here.
Commissioner Middleton.
Well, no, I didn't. No, I just want to speak.
Okay. Okay. The only thing I'd say is I'm sure most of y'all have seen that article that was written by Judge Young. So Stormy and I have prepared a response. I don't know when that will go to the Times, hopefully in the next tomorrow, I guess. So hopefully we can keep all this stuff positive. We're all in this together. Okay? So we look forward to seeing Judge Young Thursday, and you'll be here and if there's any questions. Commissioner Middleton.
Thank you.
Stormy, you through?
Yes, I am.
Hopefully, a little
Middleton?
humor. I thought Stormy would jump on this, but anyhow, we have one person handling all the clerk's duties today, Michelle, and I think she's probably doing a good job over there. I think we ought to recognize her.
But
Howard, what I'm thinking.
did you see her when I jumped ahead over Communications Committee report? She was about to have a fit because she knew she had to read that. She, whoa.
Good job, Michelle. Thank you.
She's slowing me down over there. Okay, no more of the Communications Committee reports. Moving on to our next item, President's report will stay for Thursdays. Citizen comments, I don't have anything. Michelle, Miss Nations, you don't have anything. So moving on to your next item.
Consent agenda.
Move to adjourn.
Move to adjourn, and so adjourn. Thank you.
I figured you said girl power.